Welcome back to another episode of Enter the Nerdom. I'm here with co-host
Stan Morcini
and Watson Bradshaw.
And I'm the DJ slip of the tongue there. Slip of the tongue. DJ Dinosaur Chad Cook.
DJ Dinosaur, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
That's exactly
that's what you came up with.
That
was your save?
Yeah. That's
I'm
my
just
save.
picturing like a T-Rex who can't quite reach the deck.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like meow.
You know, I don't want to go too loud for the listeners.
Okay, good.
You know.
Because it's early morning somewhere.
Yeah. PT dactyl Chad on the scratches. On the scratchers. Is that what they call them? The scratchers?
No.
I don't think that's what it is. Yeah.
All right, well, you know.
The ones and twos.
Well, people just hit buttons now anyway. So.
That's true.
So
Yeah, that's
hit
true.
play on there.
Except for here.
Except for here?
Except for here.
Oh, yes.
We don't believe in pushing buttons.
No, we don't push buttons.
We pull buttons?
We scratch your mind.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that. Scratch.
We don't push buttons. We scratch your mind.
We peel back the scalp and we drill small holes into your skull, and then we just pet. We just pet the I don't know
brain
any
tissue.
Brain tissue. Yeah, I was trying to think of a scientific term for a brain.
The bag that in the brain lives in.
Yeah, we stroke the medulla oblongata until you.
Now we're sounding like Long Legs.
But yeah,
And we're excited about it.
we're excited about it.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about
Chad
it.
has a great voice for it.
Although it's not as good as the Nick Cage himself, but I've been calling that promo number and just practicing along with him, where it's like, "Hey there, Angel, how are you?" So I'll get better at it.
He does kind of sound like a balloon that's deflating a little. Just
Yeah.
But I think it'll be much more terrifying.
yeah.
Probably.
There,
Probably.
in person,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
And,
I'm liking this stage of Nick Cage's career where he's just like
Oh, whatever.
off the wall, whatever, man. Yeah.
It's just taking risks.
If anything, you got to give him respect for the risks he takes in like every role there, because he'll either just throw it up against the wall, see what sticks, or he's meticulously going about it his own way there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the next thing he's got up is the Spider-Man Noir show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So is that live
It's
action?
live action.
So
That's awesome.
I'm curious. Like, I guess he'll be an older Spider-Man, or is he
Yeah.
just voicing, and we'll see a younger person in the suit?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Noir Spider-Man takes off his outfit. If or he could, I don't know.
Yeah.
And just off, like in because it's noir, so it's black and white, and so
Yeah.
in the shadows you don't really have to see if he's old or young or something.
Yeah, but I know they're casting a bunch right now, and
Yeah, they Lamar
yes, Lamont
Lamorne.
Yeah,
Lamore, yeah, from New Girl. He's
Yeah.
he's gonna be in it. And did they cast anyone else?
I'm trying to think. I can't think right now. But
Yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah, but yeah, so
Should
it's
be
gonna be something.
yeah.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
It'd be
it'll
interesting.
Speaking of movies involving violence, I forgot to talk about In a Violent Nature last time we met. Have you guys seen that yet?
No.
It's the movie seen from it's a slasher film seen from the slasher's perspective. It's pretty good. I watched it a little while ago. I think it's an interesting take on the slasher film. It's very much Friday the 13th. Jason. It's very much the same kind of character.
Okay.
It starts off with some guys they find his resting place, and they take a ring that belonged to his dead mother, as like Jason had, his weird connection to his mother. He was also, I guess, special needs, how Jason Voorhees was, and he was tormented by, a couple of people, and he ended up getting killed, and so he slashed a bunch of people up. They were able to bury him, but the ring is what keeps him kind of buried. A couple of hikers find it, and they take it, and he comes back to get his revenge. And it's a very simple story. It's just kill whoever gets in the way, get my ring back, my mother's ring back. And so the entire film is seen from the killer's perspective. So it's an over-the-shoulder shot of him, it's like a video game. It's like,
right,
it's like third-person perspective.
Harry
yeah, exactly. Well, that's first person. That's first person. That's not like that. This is a third person where you see him walking.
Right.
So it's a great film. The problem is there's a lot of him walking, like a lot of him walking through like the woods.
Right.
To the point where it's like, okay, this is going on for about 15 seconds now. This probably be about 5 seconds.
Well,
You could have a cut somewhere in
cuts
there. Yeah.
exactly?
Is it complete silence or is it like there's
while
music?
he's walking around? It's complete silence.
So there's no like music.
There's no
playing?
music. Yeah.
Really?
There's no music. I don't think there's any music anywhere in the film. I don't remember.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's bold.
Yeah. So it's just him moving from target to target. Anybody he runs into like this homesteader kind of guy who is like kind of an asshole. Kills him, collects a weapon. And his mask, if you've probably seen the poster. It's him. It's him wearing an old firefighter's mask from like the 30s or 40s, like a forest firefighter. I guess like it's their kind of breathing apparatus that they used to wear, and so that's what he wears because that's one of the things that he wore when his first killing spree, which apparently takes place about like 15, 20 years prior to when the film begins. And so the same thing, he runs in a couple campers who are out in the woods, and there's some pretty gruesome kills. There's a kill on one where he stabs a girl through the stomach and then pulls her head through her stomach and then kind of twists her into like this kind of pretzel looking thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it was good. It was the only movie that I've seen people walk out of though.
Oh, really?
I saw like three separate couples walk out of this thing.
Right.
And like never come back. I'm guessing they were probably like on their first or second date. They're probably still getting to know each other, and they're like, oh yeah, let's go watch this slasher fic. And all of a sudden, it's these very gory kills that are happening in the movie. So.
Or they got so hot and bothered, and they
had to
let's
go
get out of here.
Let's go do it.
We're going to the bathroom.
Working for me.
Yeah, but I mean, it's okay. There's a couple parts where, the characters do the old tropes where they get too close to the killer that they think is dead. They shoot him a couple times, and they say in the film the ranger that's in charge of that area where he's killing is faced him before as a kid. His father helped put him down, so he knows of. I can't remember the character's name, the killer's name, but he says he
Jacob.
shoots him. Yeah, exactly. Actually, it might be Jacob.
Oh, really?
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it actually might be Jacob. That sounds familiar. And he shoots him, and he goes down, and he even says, like, bullets only slow him down. The only way to keep him down is to put him back in his burial ground with the ring that these kids are the ones that have taken it. And, of course, he gets too close, even though he's knocked out. He's like, all right, we're time him up. And he gets very close to him like an idiot, and he gets killed. And so, anyway, it's just – and there's a couple other scenes where, characters do things that are like, what do you – again, the trope of, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, you want to scare the screen. You want to yell at the screen, like, what are you doing? They set up a trap to get him back to his burial ground, the last two survivors. And one of them tries to distract him and is immediately murdered. And he's just like, if you've seen the trailer, it's him he's just sitting there just pounding away at this person. Like the body, the guy's like long dead. And the final girl is just standing there for like an entire minute just watching him. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Run,
Yep.
So eventually she does that. And, so it's...
She's in awe of his power.
Exactly. So yeah, it's there's the final girl is left at the end of the movie, and there's a long scene of her. She finds a car moving through the woods, and it's this lady, and she's like, "Okay, I got to fix you up." And so it was shot pretty well because it's a very like tense filled scene because you're like, "Okay, he's gonna pop up at any moment."
Right.
He's gonna pop up at any moment. And so then there's a long scene of them just driving in the car. And it's just like, is this person know what's going on, or is he going to pop up at some point? So and it just kind of ends. So it's just it's again, it could probably have been maybe like 20 minutes shorter, especially they cut some of the walking scenes.
Right.
But
it sounds like someone played the Friday the 13th video game.
It's exactly what it's. Yeah.
And they're like, this will be a good movie.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm questioning though because with the sheriff or whatever is saying there's only one way to stop him and put him back in the grave. It's like, couldn't they dismember him and spread his parts, far away from each other?
Well, yeah, I think they tried that on Friday the 13th at some point, didn't they?
Did they?
Like that?
I think
that, so it's just, yeah, you're right. It's like, could they do that? The way he kills the sheriff is he pretty much paralyzed. He grabs him by like the spine.
Ooh, that's
and,
always
like, crushes his spine.
Kill.
Yeah, and so the guy is completely conscious, but he can't move. Yeah. And so he's just watching the killer set up. It's like this log cutting machine that just like slices logs in half.
Yeah, like a milling.
Yeah, it's a milling. Yeah, so he kind of drags him in there. It's right next to the area where he paralyzed him, and the two kids, of course, run off. And there's a long scene of him like demonstrating to the audience how this machine works, like cutting the logs.
He turns to the camera and holds
pretty
the log.
much, pretty much. He's just like it's like he's showing the sheriff, like, let me. But in reality,
this is gonna be you. Next.
Yes, exactly. He's like he's putting stumps down and it's cutting through these stumps.
You tried to lay your hands on me.
And then he slowly cuts his arm off, cuts the guy's arm, and then he puts his head in there and he finally cuts it. So it's a pretty brutal. They got a lot of brutal kills in it. I mean, it wasn't a terrible movie, but it's definitely not for the faint of heart if you don't like gory stuff. So
it doesn't. It sounds like it doesn't quite have the fun factor of like a Jason movie. Like that's one thing. That's
exactly what
it's that fine line, right, with your horror films, with like that, with your slasher flicks, where you want them to have kind of this sense of humor about it, even though it's gallows humor is what it is. It's like because if you get too serious with it, then it just becomes like brutalization.
Exactly.
And that's why I never liked the gore porn of the early 2000s.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah,
I
remember like
and stuff like that.
Was a good one,
it was just like, look how gory we can be, but it's like there was no like intent behind it.
Yeah, it's just gore for gore's sake.
Yeah,
and that's what this movie is kind of like. It's very serious. It takes itself very serious. I thought it was an interesting perspective. It's nothing. Anytime that you get any kind of information about the killer, like when the kids run into the ranger who was telling them what this guy
Ranger
is.
exposition.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like he's walking up to them at the ranger station from the woods, so you can kind of hear them in the background talking.
That's good.
And, yeah, exactly. I thought it was a good setup. And that's how you get the backstory on who he is and why he is the way he is and why he's killing and all this shit. So, and then there's a couple flashbacks that as the killer's walking around, particularly when he kills like this homesteader guy, who the ranger has beef with him because he's like laying traps all over the woods, these bear traps. And the ranger, like, again, the killer's in the woods watching them. And the ranger's like, you can't be laying these bear traps. I'm going to come back here next time. And the guy's kind of like, one of these.
This is going to haunt me later.
Yeah, which it does, yeah. The guy is telling it is kind of like one of those sovereign citizen people that, like, I don't have to listen to the law, that kind of shit. But he's, like, planning these bear traps, like, in like the national forest that borders his land. So that's where the ranger's like, you can't be doing that shit. And so as the killer finally catches up to this guy, once the ranger leaves, he runs into the woods and of course he hits one of his own traps and the guy just, the killer just fucks him up. So, but yeah, it was, I mean, it's a good film. It could be cut. There's a couple of scenes where he's just literally walking through the woods. There's no sound but the woods and his like thumping, it's just like thumping in the woods. He's a huge guy. He's like 6'5", just thumping through the woods. And that's it. And that's just him walking. And it's just like, and eventually they cut to like, where he's at a different area, but it's like, probably cut this by a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Two things. I would have had the kids, as soon as they got him down to the ground, just start eating him. If you eat him, he can't come back because you just...
No, he'll just like burrow out of your stomach,
Well, no, but
like
if he's in little chunks, like you make some ground beef, stir it up with some Easy Mac, and just be like...
Well, there you go.
Or secondly...
Cannibalism is the answer.
Yeah, I mean... If he comes back as a turd, that's less, alarming.
Kill a turd in a mask.
I mean... Actually, that's a good movie.
Awesome.
TM it. We're TMing that.
TM.
And secondly, I would have threw a random bear in the movie, so then he just gets in a fight with a big grizzly, and you get some stakes in there.
Yeah.
That's
some
cool.
Bear stakes.
Grizzly bear.
Yeah. You do see his face. Again, it's very Jason Voorhees like. This kind of like, I don't know how to describe. The Jason Voorhees thing is kind of like. I hate to say this, but it's like kind of like that Down syndrome type. Like that's how they portrayed him.
Jason,
the early Jason. That's how they portrayed him.
Gotcha.
That's how I'm saying. That's how the movie did.
Like Quasimodo.
Kind of. Yeah, exactly. And so he has the same features. Like it's a kind of like there's something physically wrong with him.
Yeah.
His face before he died. And then they allude to that when the ranger's telling the backstory to the kids. It's like he was different, so the kids picked on him.
I feel like they should have just made a Friday the 13th movie.
I think what I think, I don't know if this happened, but it did seem like the writers of this were like, they wrote a Friday the 13th film,
right?
But this was supposed to be Jason,
right?
And they tried to pitch it, and they're like, no,
yep.
And then we'll just do our own thing then.
Yeah,
it seems like it's what had happened. But if this had been a Jason film like this, I think it would have been pretty interesting.
Yeah, it would have been different from the 12 other ones.
Exactly, and it's strictly from Jason's perspective.
Mm-hmm. And you have that the IP to go off of.
Exactly.
Pull in more people.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the theater wasn't very packed, and like I said, three couples left, so I think they just couldn't handle it. Or something. I think because like what you said, Watson, is like there just wasn't a lot of fun with it. It was just like it takes still pretty seriously. It's like this is a killer. He's unstoppable.
Like, did you feel like you were connecting because it's from the killer's perspective?
Yeah.
Are you connecting with any real characters? Because like obviously you watch a movie.
No, that's the problem.
Yeah, because like you watch a horror movie to connect with your final girl, with like the people like you want them to get away.
Well, so I would say that's not the case with the 80s films. Usually it's, at least with the Friday the 13th series, people watch that just for the kills. Like it's mainly...
But, you're supposed to, like, give a shit.
I mean, I guess you do, where it's like, don't go in there, you stupid,
Yeah. Well, there's a part where the killer observes the... they're not really teens. They're like, in their mid-20s, these campers. He observes them... and he's standing in the woods and he's watching them through the cabin windows for like a good solid like 10 minutes. And so that's how you get the backstory on who these characters are. Oh, and then before that, actually, he observes them around a campfire talking for a long time. And then he watches them like what they're doing inside the cabin and all this. So then he takes it once one of the characters leaves to go use the outhouse is when he, that's when he makes his first kill on them. It's pretty brutal too. He grabs a saw and he like cuts through his mouth and cuts like from his like jaw up. He cuts his head off. Jeez. So yeah, gets him up against a tree and gets behind him.
I would have fun with it, just taking clips and like dubbing over him, the killer, just because he's not speaking. So you could really do that. Where just like it's like I'm looking for my ring, guys. Do you mind? And then while he's hacking somebody,
I'm sorry.
Oh man, you got a lot of tomato juice coming out of you. Or just like, just give him the voice of Gollum, because he's after a ring the whole time. So I think, But going off that idea, I'm going to make The Edge 2. You know the movie The Edge with Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins?
Is that the one that they're in the boat?
They crash in a plane.
And they're fighting
a bear. So
right.
This is from the perspective of the bear. The bear is tracking them down.
Yeah.
And then I think that's going to be just as entertaining.
I think Alec Baldwin is available, so you might be able to get him cheap.
Not right now. Not currently. Not currently. He's a little busy in court. Yeah.
The bear's going to show up in court. Like, that's the man.
That's the twist in the movie.
He's wearing a little tie. Looks like Yogi Bear.
That man, Alec Baldwin. Like it's like real life. There was a comic book a few years back that I think we all read it as a group, but it's Maniac in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where it's kind of like a Jason-esque character.
Yeah, that he can't die, but he has to come back every couple years.
Yeah, and then just like New York's kind of just like used to him.
Right. That's what it is.
It's just like, oh god, and it's like Maniac Harry's out again.
That's what it was. Yeah.
And I would love to see that made into a movie.
It would be interesting. Yeah, because you could do it be a dark comedy.
Yeah, exactly. It still kind of has that vibe.
Right.
Well, like, have you guys seen Voices with Ryan Reynolds?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, would you say that, because I didn't get to read the book, but was it similar to that vibe of comedy where he's like...
Yeah, I mean, like, it's more like a Jason character, so he doesn't really have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like kind of very much, that's the kind of vein. That's a good pull.
Yeah.
Because like I saw that on whatever cable channel, and it was very entertaining. I'd never heard of it before, I went in blind, and like it was a very fun movie with. I think Ryan was also voicing the cat and the dog that spoke to him, which was the voices that he hears to kill people and stuff. But I'd say if anyone likes horror and comedy mixture, I'd say it's a dark comedy.
Yeah, it's got a great cast in it too.
Yeah.
I think it's I'm trying to remember who else is in it.
The girl from Pitch Perfect. I forget her name.
Anna
Kendrick.
Yes.
She's great in it.
Yeah. In the Violent Nature, I recommend it.
Okay,
it's pretty.
Is that going to go in your collection?
Probably not.
No,
probably not. It's got really great cinematography, by the way. It's beautifully shot because it's in the woods. It's like Washington, Oregon. So I think it's in Washington. gorgeous.
Would you be interested though, like to see the commentary, just to like see what was going through their head?
I would. That'd be interesting to see. I would be interested to see that.
See how they broke that down.
Yeah, yeah. And it's also, you can tell it's a very cheap movie because it's just a guy in fucked up clothes.
I would assume that was like pandemic. They filmed it probably because you didn't have to have many people on set.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah, so check it out. Speaking of slashers, Maxxxine.
Oh yeah.
You guys saw it, right?
I did not. See
you didn't
it.
see
I
it?
hadn't seen it.
I didn't get to.
I didn't see.
You didn't get to see it.
Well, no, you don't invite. So.
Well, I mean, you said you were going to see it though.
Yeah. I said I was going to see it, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to see it tomorrow or whatever. And I was like,
no, but then you were saying, but when we had to push back this episode,
yes,
you said you were going to see it.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, so you're lying.
Stenographer, could you read back the text?
Yeah,
chain,
bring it, roll it up.
No, I didn't do that.
You said at 12:40. Yeah,
I was too tired yesterday.
Well, like this is not going to be as great because I haven't seen the previous movies.
Okay,
so I can't really.
Yeah, you haven't seen any of the trilogy.
Yeah, I haven't seen Pearl or X.
X, yeah.
And so,
are you going to watch them now based off of this?
I'm interested because everyone's saying they're better than this latest one. This is probably the weakest link of
Pearl
the
was
trilogy.
Very good, dude.
Yeah,
Mia Goth didn't get an Oscar for that performance. I don't understand.
Well, it's horror.
It's horror. Yeah, exactly. The Academy doesn't respect horror for some reason.
Well, Silence of the Lambs, right? Wasn't the...
Yeah, that's a thriller more. That's more
of
a thriller.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's not really horror.
Yeah, no, that's thriller.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, dude, for that monologue, that like 8-minute monologue, oh my god. Anyway,
it's great.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about? Give us a synopsis of the story. What is it about, and who the antagonist is in the plot?
Gotcha. And all right, so Maxxxine, it starts out with her going to an audition on like a big WB like lot and stuff. And I will say a lot of the shots of the movie of her like going on and off a lot were like of Warner Brothers and Universal and maybe the Fox lot. I'm not sure, but like
now you work on the Warner Brothers lot. Was it the actual lot?
Yeah, no, I saw like some of the shots. I was like, oh, that's this place. This is this stage. This is this place. So I was like, I was mad because I was like, what? I could have saw Mia Goth running around. I was like, what the hell? But you know,
it's just in the background.
She's
While you're in the office, she's just running behind you.
What? Huh? But no. So she's trying to become a legit star from her porn star roots. She wants to go straight and be a big star like that she's always been aiming for, because in the beginning of the movie they play this little clip of her as a little girl, and supposedly the voice behind the camera is her dad telling her, you're going to be a star one day. And so it kind of sets up what is going to take place in the sense of as she's trying to get attached to this movie, which she does, she is surrounded by these deaths that have been happening to people close around her, and it turns out to be
the Night Stalker.
Well, no, that's the thing. So there's the Night Stalker's killings going on at the same time as her, her story is, and the killer that's attached to her is blaming them on the Night Stalker. Right. So he's like branding some of the bodies with the
Night Stalker symbol. Yeah.
Well, the star, but on the whatever it's called.
Yeah, the pentagram.
The pentagram. That's it. That's it. So pentagram and defiling the bodies and things like that, and so pretty much. Well, I mean, I don't want to go into spoilers for you guys.
No, I don't.
I'm good.
I don't care about spoilers. So.
Okay. Well, all right. Spoiler warning for those listening. So it's leading up to all these people are being invited to this party up in the Hollywood, not Hollywood Hills, because it's near the Hollywood sign. Weirdly enough, so it's kind of like a fake house. Yeah. Obviously, there's no real house up there. But
Randy's Donuts is right outside.
Yeah,
it's LA.
So they keep disappearing, or their bodies show up dead the next day after they go up
after
there. After the party, or the quote unquote party that you never see. You don't see it
because
they'll be like,
we're
invited up to, and then Mia Goth's like, no, I gotta study my lines and stuff like that. And
I see. So this is like a hangout spot.
Yeah, it's supposedly you're supposed to think, there's a big Hollywood party going on up, and it turns out, like, as the story is progressing, that these people who said they were going to this place turn up dead, and like it turns into you see the killer wearing like a in a silhouette like of just a trench coat and a fedora hat or whatever.
Raphael?
I know, right? It is.
Yeah.
But and you see these gloves clenching ready when he's about to kill or getting angry. But mainly that he's less of the star. Like, you don't really see him till the finale of the movie and who he is. Mainly it's Kevin Bacon who's sort of the antagonist.
Oh, Kevin Bacon.
And I love Kevin Bacon. To me, he stole the show of this movie because I guess people were saying Maxxxine didn't have a lot to do in this one. It was like very subdued compared to the previous two. And since I know, I can only go off from what I've seen of the trailers of the original two movies, that they're more weird or more
avant-garde.
Bombastic, avant-garde, and gravitas, but really the standouts were like the people who were around her, which I guess is the downside of the movie, where like Giancarlo Esposito. I was glad to see him doing not the stereotypical part of Gus, of the proper guy. He was more like a sleazy agent who's like, I'll get anything done for you. I'll even kill people and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and then Kevin Bacon always sells it as a bad guy. He was like a Louisiana PI that was hired to find Maxxxine, and he's like. Keeps edging her on the whole movie where he's just like popping up. It's like, hey, you better do what I say. And she fights back here and there. And they have their
why is he looking for her?
Because the person who is doing the killings hired him to find Maxxxine. He wants the whole reason is Maxxxine. And like
he's trying to kill Maxxxine?
Well, that's you're not sure yet. You're thinking that's the case.
I see.
But then it's revealed that, spoiler alert here, that the person killing is her dad.
Dun, dun, dun.
And so that kind of goes back to the beginning of the movie where
I'll make you
a star.
Right. Yeah. So he's killing the competition.
Well, not exactly, because her dad is very religious, is like a almost religious zealot, and he's kind of made a cult of all the parents who've lost their kids to Hollywood, like who become like degenerates and things like that. So they think everyone in Hollywood is full of sin and things like that. Yeah. So he's trying to make a video starring his daughter to show that he's able to save. I would assume that's what I kind of got, that he was able to save his daughter from Hollywood. But cops show up and there's a shootout, and then it's a weird, very weird ending, and it's kind of disappointing. Which I could see from my friends who said,
it's very Scream 3 ending.
Yeah,
a little bit, but I like Scream 3 though, so maybe that's why I like the movie. But
don't say an unkind word about Scream 3.
Don't you ever talk about Scream 3 like that. But no,
I think Scream 3 is fine.
Yeah, no, but I would say Scream 3 is more impressive than this movie.
Yeah,
in the sense of the killer was interesting.
Yeah,
this one it was her dad. I had no real attachment to her. Yeah. He's obviously not in the previous films.
No.
So it's just like completely. I think if anything, Kevin Bacon, maybe if he wasn't a PI, he could have been something bigger. But I think he was the most interesting.
So he's like a red herring kind of thing.
Not necessarily, because you know right up front that he's working for somebody. So that's the thing. It's just like you're wondering. Oh, I wonder who's the person, and because the murders at the farm that she survived from X, I would assume. have been brought up throughout the movie.
I was just going to ask, is that brought up?
It's brought up, and she's worrying like, oh, this is going to ruin my career because she's just starting out. She's on this new movie, and The Puritan 2. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if The Puritan is an actual horror movie. Like, I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I guess they made it up for this.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to keep her life together because she runs late to work and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I gotta handle this. And her and her agent and her best friend that runs like a video store, they team up and they take down Kevin Bacon's character. Mm-hmm. And then, it seems like all is fine, but then she's like, you know what, I need to really go and figure out what's been happening at this place that all my friends are dying from, and you get to the finale. So it's kind of just like a bland, like 80s movie, I guess. I mean,
which I guess is the kind of what they're going for. I mean, it looks very 80s. It like
I would say they did what they
intended,
but if they wanted like something, a bigger meaning or something behind it, that wasn't put through.
Yeah, well, I mean, Maxxxine, the previous one, things kind of revolve, like things happen around her.
Yeah.
She wasn't like a huge part of it. The main focus of the previous film was the older lady who she also plays. It was mainly her and like what's going on in this farm and why they're killing people. At this farm. Yeah.
Well, like that's why I'm wondering maybe if she played two characters in Maxxxine, it would have been more interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Because she didn't have much to do. Because like there were scenes.
Well, and this Pearl and X are very self-contained.
They're just,
exactly.
Like, on that farm. Pearl especially. Pearl's not even Maxxxine the character.
No,
it's Mia Goth, but it's a whole different character.
So she plays Pearl in
as a young person.
One. Yeah, and then she kills Pearl in the end of X.
Yeah,
and then so Pearl is the prequel dealing with that character.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
But Pearl has nothing to do with Maxxxine because it takes place in the early 1900s.
Right. Yeah. But it's still about the pursuit of fame.
About fame, yeah.
Because I feel like all these, that's kind of the running thread.
That is, you're right. Yeah, because Pearl is trying to become a star and she auditions for this role that these Hollywood agents are looking for, and she doesn't get it. She
back in the early days.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like I totally get that through line for all three movies. Stardom is what it's all about in a sense. But like, I don't know. I think people wanted, like, I'd say her biggest performance in Maxxxine was the very beginning where she walks she walks onto this sound stage. There's three people behind a desk like to videotape her and record her casting, and she's got to read the sides and like perform for them to sell herself for the movie,
right?
And like she just starts crying automatically and just going into it. And I would imagine that was a majority of her acting in the previous two movies. But you didn't get a lot of that. She was very normal here, and I think people wanted more of that throughout the movie. So I was like, I could see that, but like for me, it was like, this is an okay 80s B movie.
Yeah,
whatever.
I think also with the first two, there's like no real stars. There's no like, like with this, like you mentioned, like Kevin Bacon and
Jill Ortega was in it, but that was before she really blew up.
Yeah,
Bobby Cannavale, or I think that's his first name, Bobby, right? And I forget the girl's name, but she's the wife of Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible.
Monaghan, Michelle Monaghan, or something.
Yeah, Monaghan. Yeah, she's in it as another detective. So it's like, there are scenes without Maxxxine where you're on with these characters, and it's like, I think it should have stayed with her most of the time. Maybe I just part of it's just nothing was very weird or outlandish in the movie. It was like very by the numbers, and although when things did get gory, it was cool. Like they did some cool things, and there was fun moments with her too, but like it didn't stick or stay around.
It was like very like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood meets like Zodiac Killer.
A little bit, but because like and the weird thing is, I don't think they needed the Night Stalker in the movie. Because part of me going in, I thought, okay, Night Stalker, if this is connected, they're doing a fictional history like Quentin Tarantino.
That's what I thought was going to be the plot. Yeah,
not the case,
she runs up against him or something like that.
It's like they're in the same city. That's it.
Yeah,
and so it's just like, all right, well, they could have done something with that.
Yeah.
But I understand if they wanted to.
That's for the next one.
I mean,
they'll go head to head.
Yeah.
Well, no, that at the end of the movie in the news they say we caught the Night Stalker killer. So it's like, all right, well,
that's done.
That's that.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Maybe. I think it would be too dark if the Night Stalker killer killed her at the end of the movie.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That would have.
I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the next one is set, and she's the one that really kills Anna Nicole Brown. It's all the 90s.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe she becomes an old lady in the 90s or early 2000s, and they already made their trilogy, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Director. Cool. Do you recommend it?
I mean, I'd say go see it. Yeah, I wouldn't say you don't have to see it in theaters. Really, it's like right.
And you didn't feel like you missed out by not seeing the first two.
Well, I mean, I was intrigued. Now I want to go see what happened beforehand because from also other people telling me those are more. They're much better films than this one.
Pearl's definitely much better.
Yeah.
If you're gonna watch any of them, just watch Pearl.
But no, I'd like to see the whole story pan out and stuff.
Yeah.
But would you watch Pearl first and then X and then Maxxine, or do you watch it X Maxxine?
I'd probably watch X first, just because you get that creepy old lady.
Yeah.
You're like, what's going on with this person? And then her husband is out there doing what he does. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but
no. I mean, from the trailers, it looks like Pearl is a more colorful film.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's yet again, it's kind of celebrating old Hollywood.
Yeah, like Dorothy, Wizard of Oz.
And she's absolutely psychotic.
Pearl. Yeah.
Absolutely psychotic. Yeah.
So I think...
It's a fun character.
Yeah,
I think if he didn't make it in that order, though, like if he made Pearl first, and then he made
these smaller
X,
movies. Yeah.
Because if you go from that good of a movie, as you say, Pearl is the best of them, and then you do Maxxine, it's like you're pulling back.
Yeah,
you didn't start at the.
It's going in descending order.
Yeah, so if anything, maybe do Pearl last. That could have been an interesting.
That's true. That's true.
To round out the trilogy. So I don't know.
True.
But I'd say go see it. I'm all for supporting movies that are not superhero things.
Yeah, seriously.
Please just go and see it.
I'd go see it just for that. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, just do that, please.
Yeah, give us something else aside from. Well, superhero movies are
as much as I like superhero
own,
stuff.
Me too, but it's just enough.
It's like we need to support movies.
Let's go back to actual something outside of that.
Yeah, and like speaking of another movie that's not doing well. What the?
Oh, I was gonna go Beverly Hills Cop 4. You fucked.
Sorry.
You fucked up my segue.
How are you gonna segue from that?
Speaking of Kevin Bacon.
Man.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Segway.
Yeah, let me handle segues, dude.
Okay.
I got the list here.
I was just
saying. You get the intros and outros. He gets the segues.
Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop 4. Speaking of another Kevin Bacon film.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon living his best life.
Living his best life, man. He's just doing his thing.
We'll get.
I watched it. You know what, man? I had a great time with this film.
Yeah.
I agree. I had a great time with this film. I did because it felt very like 90s action comedy, 80s, 90s action comedy. It felt like it. It was great to see the old gang back, and it was just fun just to have them on another adventure and Axel Foley just doing the things he does. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I had fun with it.
I got to see it at the Egyptian Theater.
Ooh, fancy!
Because I guess they were showing the first and second one, and they didn't show the third one. But because my friend's friend got us tickets.
They don't show trash.
Hey, don't you talk bad about the third one.
It's got its moments. I watched all three of them prior to watching this, and it's got its moments.
It's got some nice moments.
Yeah. I think it's better. I think it's slightly better than Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Whoa.
Slightly.
I wouldn't go that far.
Slightly.
I wouldn't go that far.
It's got its moments more than it was. To me, it's more memorable than Beverly Hills Cop 2. Because I rewatched that and I was like, this is kind of dumb in a way, kind of. Because they robbed the jewelry store and then they're just shooting the place up.
Okay,
What are you shooting the place up for? Like, what are you firing for?
I will say
so they could leave bullets so Axel could find them.
I will say in the third movie, the stunt work outshines the second movie.
Songwork is great in the third one. Holy shit, dude! That's an actual guy jumping from in that ride.
Yeah,
you know,
and the set pieces. There's diving and there's lots of you know like it's a little bit more. It's cartoonish, but it still works for it.
Yeah, it's way more cartoonish.
It is cartoon. At one point, I forgot about this. There's a guy in that merry-go-round thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's like up there firing his weapon. I'm like, why is he up there?
Yeah. No, I would be up there. It's
a terrible place to be.
You're shooting down from. You got the high ground.
You better have a lot of ammo up there because you're going to be given away immediately.
I think he was underestimating Axel Foley. You know?
I guess he was.
Like,
he certainly did.
I'm going to get.
He didn't know he had a boombox / bazooka.
Dude, that thing I had forgotten about it because I had forgotten that.
So dumb.
He gets it from Serge. He gets it from Serge.
Microwave.
And I forgot that he pops up to shoot these two dudes, and first he fires a net, and then the second one he blasts music, and he can't figure out the settings for it. It was great.
It's great. It's great comedy.
But the guys are just standing there. The guys who were shooting at him are just kind of standing there, looking at each other, like, "If you believe this clown, huh?"
Yeah,
and
they're like laughing at him, and then they just let's just walk over to him.
And then he shoots him,
and then he shoots him.
Of course.
I love the random we need Axel to see someone at a convention. Who is a friend of his, who is also a weapons expert now, who was an art dealer before.
Well, that's the thing. I love it because he is in...
We're just talking about 3 now.
He's an everyman. Like, he's the art dealer. And the second one, was he in the second one?
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. Okay. So,
him and what's his name were not in the second one.
Taggart was
Taggart.
No, Taggart was in the second one.
Taggart's not in the third.
Taggart's not in the third.
The third one,
but they bring Serge back. It's like, because it's sort of still art, but it's art with guns.
With guns, yeah.
And so I was like, I like that transition. And then they bring him back in the.
I give you this.
They bring him back in this fourth one, and then he's doing. I guess he sells real estate now. So,
yeah.
Which I was like, all right, this works.
He's an entrepreneur. He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
that scene was just there to have him come.
Yeah,
back.
that's all.
They're like, we need to somehow get into this next door neighbor's house.
Yeah.
Well, because he's got the connections to because that's such a wealthy house that there wouldn't.
You can only do by appointment.
Yeah. And he's got the connections to be immediately the day of. So, but no, the movie I was. Like, from the initial trailers, I was worried about the comedy. Mm-hmm. If Eddie Murphy will have that same, snap to him, for, making fun of other cops and quick quips that he would usually do. And it was there. It was all there.
It was 100% there.
And I know in an article he was like, I got rid of my laugh because I didn't want to be known.
Yeah, I saw an interview about that.
It didn't bother me that much,
but really I did
miss it. I did miss it.
I missed it a lot, yeah.
He was not embarrassed, but he was just like, anyone who does an Eddie Murphy impression just does the laugh. Yeah. So he's like, I try to work my way out of it.
Yeah. And I could get that because you don't want to be just, you're the guy with the laugh. Do you still laugh like that? And people are just laughing at the laugh after whatever joke he said before, if it's funny or not. So I was like, I understand that. And that's fine.
I don't know. It's your signature, man.
But it is. It is.
It's like Arnie not saying I'll be back.
Yeah.
That's true. But, I mean, yeah.
Or yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. It's like, you gotta bust out the laugh.
Something.
And Billy still had Judge Reinhold. He was great.
He's
he still
great.
Had it with his, just little... I wouldn't say I don't know if I would say his voice is lackadaisical. It's just hey guy, very spacey. Just he was able to get right back into it. And Taggart was Taggart. He's like, God damn it!
Yeah, get the fuck out of my office.
What was sad though was because I was looking up. I was like, is Ronnie Cox still alive? Who was the chief?
No,
he is.
What?
He's alive.
I thought he.
Oh, I thought you meant in the film series.
Because he doesn't die in 2. And then I forget if in 3, did they say he passed away or something?
No, he's in 3.
In 3, he dies in 3.
No, that's Todd.
No,
that's Lieutenant Todd in Detroit gets killed.
Yeah.
No, in 3, his chief gets killed.
No, in Detroit. Detroit. His chief gets killed. Ronnie Cox is Dick Jones from RoboCop.
Yeah.
He got shot in the second one.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. My bad.
I was hoping maybe we would see him. Yeah. When he comes back to Beverly Hills.
Dead in real life.
I swore I looked it up, but I don't think I was
Ronnie
mistaken.
Cox, if you're listening to this, please
write Ronnie
in.
Cox is of course he's alive. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just surprised they didn't try to bring him back, and maybe just they pull up to his house, and be like, hey man.
So he's sometime because he's in that. They show the picture again of them all them together.
Yeah,
with the fish.
The boating,
yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh man, I would have loved to see.
That's Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Love that. Movie.
Oh, that was. I was like right when he got to Beverly Hills is right when it kicked in.
Oh yeah, he's so great at he shows up and there's guys trashing Rosewood's office, and immediately he's into what are you looking for? Let's get to work. And
he goes to that stack of papers, just throws them on the ground.
And then he starts going, you know who sent me?
Yeah, goddamn who sent me.
It's so good.
Yeah,
he jumps everyone falls right into his game, so it's like
And I even love when he goes to the hotel, and he tries to do it, but he's so tired, he's like, fuck it. I'll just pay for the room.
Yeah.
I was like, that's good.
And you know what also this movie didn't, this movie had that the others didn't, was there was a little more drama than the other ones. It was just action comedy.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of Jerry Bruckheimer, Don Simpson. Yeah. Let's just get, come on, meat and potatoes.
But what can we blow up?
Yeah, exactly.
The relationship with his daughter was the big part of it. And I was like, this isn't bad. I was worried that it would overwhelm the story, but it didn't. It didn't. Right. It still worked.
Yeah.
And, I plus because if you didn't have the blonde girl from the previous films in it, you had to have another lady to take the place. So and also you didn't have the do you think that was the mom in 3, the girl he ends up with at the end?
I was waiting for her name for them to say it, but I never heard her name.
Oh, you didn't?
But they said they lived in Detroit, so I don't think it was her.
Well, I thought she might have moved there with
them. Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah. They never said who the mom was, so I don't. Who knows?
Because she kind of, in a sense, looked like her.
Yeah, kind of.
I could see it being that being the case. So
because I was waiting for them to say that character's name, and they never said
and
it.
That would validate 3 even more.
It's true. But they said something about.
The third.
The third, you were on your game or something like that.
No, yeah. Someone was like, we don't want to talk about 94.
That's right.
Yeah, because it was like they go through his file.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I lost it when he steals that meter maid's that was tram, and she pepper sprays him, and he's I was chuckling for that. But then when he drives off and he looks over and she's hanging on, I lost it. I was like, I was dying, dude. I had to rewind
it's very old school
because she's hanging on. She's like, you done fucked up, and she's she keeps pepper spraying him. Oh my god! She's like, "You're gonna learn today." I was dying, dude.
And I didn't even care that there would be no way he would be able to open his eyes.
Yeah, of course not.
But I was like, I don't care.
No, but it was funny. Yeah,
there was a bottle of water there. He did a little.
Well, he grabbed it at some point.
Yeah,
from
I was like,
and he was like, but no, I thought that was the chases were great.
Yeah.
And I was so happy they brought back the music because the third one only had the Axel theme song.
Right.
It didn't have a lot of the Harold Faltermeyer theme, like the shootout theme and other.
I like the music in this one because it was the same themes, but they updated it a little bit.
And they brought back Neutron Dance from the first one, and there was another song that they brought back as well.
The first song from the first part of the first movie,
the chase.
The chase. Yeah.
So I was like, this helps people get back into the Beverly Hills Cop mindset.
Yeah,
those songs.
for sure.
So I was happy those were in it.
There's some stuff though I felt like, and I have the same problem with Maverick, with Top Gun.
Top Gun.
In Maverick, when the opening shot is him on his old school 1980s motorcycle with the jacket.
Yeah.
And in this, it's like you start the movie where him driving that same blue Chevy Nova.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So these characters don't get to really grow. It's like, why is he not a captain already?
Well, those were very the old motorcycle and the Nova. They're very
nostalgia.
It's nostalgia fan service. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, I also think though it's part of the character. They haven't developed.
Right.
Top Gun. He still wants to be the guy. The pilot. And Axel still wants to be in the streets.
Right.
And the thing is also with this new movie for Axel, you could tell he has growth because he didn't take care of his daughter and he just pushed them away. So it's just that kind of fits that he's got the same car. Still wearing the jacket.
Yeah,
I like the scenes with him and Paul Reiser.
Oh
especially.
Those are great
because Paul Reiser's like, look, we're fucking old.
Yeah,
what are you
he retires. He's like, I'm out of here.
He's like, we're the same age.
Yeah, and he's like, look, man, you look good.
Yeah.
But no, I
like how they have the picture of the captain up on the wall.
Yeah,
did you notice that?
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
That was great. And then Luis Guzman was fun.
Oh yeah,
he had that small little bit
He
where
was
he's
great,
the gang leader and doing karaoke.
Yeah.
And they had Nassim, I forget her name, but she was the realtor that they met.
Oh yes,
yes,
from SNL.
Yeah. She's great.
SNL,
yeah.
I forget her last name, but Nassim. She was hilarious.
She was great. She was hilarious.
Yeah. Like I was worried if people would have good flow with Eddie, but everybody worked. Even Joseph
Gordon-Levitt was
sold it.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt was good in it, man.
He was the one I was a little worried about, but I think did a really great job.
Yeah.
I also thought the hair was going to be a problem, but I was like, no, that works. It's fine. It fits
for Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, because he had this like weird wavy
top kind of thing.
Yeah. And I was like, that's very 80s. Even though it's like present day, So I was like, it works. It's fine. It's like it fit his character, and the whole helicopter scene was hilarious. Where he's like, I crashed. He's like, what? And he starts pointing the gun at him. He's like, you just land this. It was great. So
I would have changed the plan if I knew you crashed.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It definitely felt like an old late 80s, 90s action comedy.
I really hope they release it on physical media because
it'd be fun if they did.
Maybe like a 4-pack.
I think this could have gone to theaters.
People were saying afterward like they should have released it in theaters.
Yeah, it would have done really well.
Yeah, it would have.
Because I know they had it at the Egyptian for like 2 days or whatever. But I heard there was some random AMCs that had it, and I couldn't find which ones it did because I would have went to that too if I could, but I didn't see it
because it was. I mean, like, and it was shot really well.
Yeah,
it looked very similar. It didn't look like a TV movie.
No, they had a lot of practical effects in it, which I was like, that's good. Yeah.
And the director, I think this was his first big film, so he did a great job.
Yeah,
I was personally worried just because when they do that sometimes. They don't hit the mark. But they really did. I guess because Bruckheimer was part of it too. So it was hard not to do a good job. I don't know.
Yeah. It was a fun movie, and I hope that we've been kind of starved of like good like action movies, comedy movies in the last like about a decade or so, and I'm really hoping that they can make a comeback because it's like. Theaters are hurting right now. People are just not going to movies as much as they used to, and I think it's because of the quality of stuff that's being put out there. Again, I think you were saying, Chad, I think people are tired of the whole action, the whole superhero genre. It's just like, okay, wow, just another CGI, shit show that
giant blockbuster film.
Yeah, it's just like we just see characters who are believable, like a guy that we could just like run into at the supermarket. Going through a crazy adventure. Like that's what people like.
But I hope I want to see more new IP. I don't want to see keep turning
that's
these
true.
older characters.
That's true.
Like let's move the chains forward a bit.
Exactly. Oh, there's a lot of writers out there who have new IP. Hopefully they get picked up.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like the Westerns.
Oh yes.
Speaking of which, we Watson and I saw Horizon.
Yes.
Speaking of new IP.
Thank you for segueing to what I was trying to segue earlier. But
that worked better. This worked better because that is Kevin Bacon in Horizon.
I mean, he's
exactly.
Kevin. It's a Kevin. It's a Kevin.
For one Kevin to another.
I guess it's a Kevin, but it still doesn't work.
All right. Okay.
But looking towards the horizon.
Yes. This is Kevin Costner's. I kind of feel for him with this. This is Kevin Costner's to him. This was
opus.
His Ed opus. This is what he wanted to put out for many years, and he spent a lot of his own money financing it. And was it today that we got a word that it's not good? The second part's not going to be released in theaters. It was delayed, I should say.
Yeah, part 2 was supposed to come out early August.
Exactly. Yeah.
And is now just TBA kind of thing. They're just kind of like, we're going to let the first one cook for a little bit more, which I don't think that's going to help it. Like, I think whoever's gone to see this movie are the ones that want to see it. Like,
well, no, I haven't, and I want to, so I'm going to go to the theater just because I still want to see it.
I don't even know if it's in theaters anymore.
I didn't know it is in some, just probably not the bigger theater in there, just a smaller.
Well, so
which is going to hurt it more. I mean, again, it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah.
It's a big movie. It's a weird choice to drop it in the middle of summer.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's talk about it. So like for his magnum opus, it is supposed to be a about a town called Horizon that is a pioneer town.
What? I thought it was about Johnny Horizon.
Yeah, that is being built out in the middle of in the great frontier, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, it's like we said, it is very long,
mm-hmm.
and the story kind of like meanders a lot.
Boy and how.
In terms of characters, in terms of the plot, it opens with like some surveyors who are mapping out the town itself, and then they're slaughtered by. So the story is about it's four separate.
I'll give you $100 if you can say what the story is.
It's four separate storylines that are converging on the town of Horizon and the conflict between the settlers and the Apache in the 1860s. Right?
Nice. That's very well put. Better put than any of the trailers ever told you.
Exactly. So
you watch the trailer, you have no idea what this movie's about.
Right. So I guess the main character, because there is no central main character in the story, you think Kevin Costner's it, but he doesn't show up until like an hour in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's 3 hours, and he doesn't show up an hour in. I'm like, where the fuck is this guy?
And let me tell you, they introduce about 76 different characters that all have one scene and disappear for the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
or like people that just get killed off.
Right, so it starts off with the surveyors mapping out Horizon itself. They get murdered by the Apaches. Then there's a guy who's like looking for it.
A guy, yeah.
There's a guy, and it's like why the fuck?
A charming guy.
He's a nice dude.
He's like character actor.
He's like a lone settler, and he. Again, I don't.
Is it a priest or something?
It's something like that.
Religious.
But he gets to some old Spanish mission. And there's like a dude there.
There's a dude.
Yeah, there's a guy hanging out.
Another guy.
And the guy's like, "Oh, you missed it. It's the other way." He's like, "Okay." And then
do you want some food, brother?
Yeah. And then he turns around and that's it. Then that's the end of those two guys.
That guy's dead.
And it's like, why wasn't that cut? Anyway, then the cut to 5 years later or something like that. 3 years later.
Then it cuts to the Minnesota.
Right.
Or Montana.
Montana. So
you see a girl.
Right.
Shoot a guy.
Yeah. Played by Jenna Elfman. I guess it's her ex-husband. I wasn't sure.
We don't know.
It seemed because those are his sons who were after her, though.
Yes,
it must be her ex-husband.
The baby is
hers. Apparently, they never make it clear, but apparently it's her ex-husband, and she's outside of his cabin, and she pops in, and she says his name and shoots him, and you're like, "What the fuck?" And then she shoots him. Then takes the baby with a shotgun. Yeah, twice.
Yeah, in the chest.
Yeah, and apparently, but it seems like it was birdshot, which is like okay. I don't. There's no way it was buckshot.
I don't give a shit.
There's no way it was buckshot.
Yeah, that shit's gone septic in 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So then she takes her baby, and then kind of likes the end of that story to an extent. But she's living with her husband, her new husband, and a prostitute who is like renting out a room from her.
But we don't see that bit for like another 40 minutes.
Yeah. So like then it
cut to.
Then we finally get to Kevin Costner, and he's leading like a cattle drive.
Yes.
That passes through this town where Jenna Elfman's character is.
Jenna Malone.
Jenna Malone, excuse me. And Jenna Malone is with this prostitute who's kind of like rents out a room from her or something.
Yeah, Marigold. It's the only name I remember this whole movie.
I think that's the only name that we hear.
I think they mentioned his name, Kevin Costner's character's name, but I couldn't tell you.
Anyhow, she's kind of smit with him.
I'm calling him Johnny Horizon.
Yeah, she's kind of smit with him, and she like invites him to go up to the cabin because she's watching Jenna Malone's son, because Jenna Malone and her husband
are selling land?
Selling land or something.
Or selling a mine.
Right. They're interested in a mine or something like that.
But don't worry, none of that will be
None
explained.
of it, yeah. So they get to Jenna Malone and her husband. They're been tricked. They're not these people who they're meeting with are the sons of the guy that Jenna Malone shot. And they've been looking for her.
Yes.
And they kill her husband, and then they're...
Who's a fun, quorky character.
Yeah, exactly.
Dead.
And then they kind of like, okay, well, now we're going to... there's two brothers. One who is kind of more level-headed. The other... I like the brothers.
Oh, yeah. Like, it's one of the guy who plays Vecna on Stranger Things is the wild-eyed, crazy brother.
He's like a wild card, doesn't listen, hot-headed... And then
I gotta look up the other guy.
Yeah, this guy's massive. He's like 6'7".
I wanted to be Sabretooth so bad.
Seriously, dude, he's a huge guy. Great. Anyhow, he tells his younger brother, "Go, I basically kill Jenna Malone's baby." And so he goes. And then that's when he crosses paths with Kevin Costner, who's going to the house with Marigold to have sex. And I missed this once, and I missed this part because I went to the bathroom. When I got back, they were already kind of like
Beavers, by the way.
The huge, his older brother, huge guy.
Excellent presence on screen.
Yeah, exactly. Although
quiet rage.
He told his brother, get out of my sight like 4 times. I was like, okay, all right, enough. All right, but anyhow, because his brother kept like being a pain, and he kills Jenna Malone's husband, just kind of like randomly because he's
smacks him on the back of the head
with his pistol.
I mean, that is the West.
Yeah. That is West
stuff.
But anyhow, I went to the bathroom. I missed this part. How did Kevin Costner and the younger brother interact?
So they were just both walking towards that cabin.
Okay.
And basically the younger brother just starts like, hey, mister, what you doing here, huh? You gonna go see that girl, mister? Like, just starts antagonizing him.
Out of nowhere.
Okay,
that's because I was like, do they know each other?
No. Okay. He's just like, oh, you don't know my name? Like, I'm one of the, I think it's Keys brothers or something like that.
Yeah.
He's like, you know us from, if you were from these parts, you'd know us kind of thing.
Right.
And Kevin Costner's like, whatever.
Yeah. And
then as he's heading towards the cabin, the younger brother just gets twitchy and draws on him.
Yeah, and it's just out of nowhere. And I was like, what's happening here?
It feels like someone just went to Kevin Costner and was like, hey, you need to like have someone shoot a gun in this movie
because it's a Western.
One has really? Like,
well, you have to have some kind of shootout.
Yeah,
because there's been shooting, but no one shooting back.
Right. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because we even talk about the whole the city the Horizon getting.
Well, Horizon gets gunned down prior to this, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's another 40 minutes.
Because it was weird, because I went to the bathroom, I was gone, I mean, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and I come back, and all of a sudden they're drawing down at each other. I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, because he had just barely gone up to Marigold's cabin.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, that's what I figured. Because I figured, like, maybe they know each other. Like, he recognized, like, hey, I remember you.
Because Marigold comes out, and she's like, what did you do?
Right.
Like, she's, like, shocked.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, this guy was going to kill everyone in that cabin. It doesn't matter who was there. So let's skip out of town.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, in a lot of Westerns, shootouts or at least scuffles happen without much behind it. It's just like, hey, you're not showing me respect, and
that's true. That's true, but it just seemed very sudden, like out of nowhere. Now, it was a good shootout. It was a very tense shootout.
To move the plot forward.
Yeah, it was a very tense shootout, especially the way the guy responded, because he's like, "Oh no, I am not dying here. I am not dying." The younger brother.
Yeah,
and he's like firing over, but like Kevin Costner just like goes around the water truck he's behind, just fucking guns him down.
Yeah.
So, but we kind of skipped over that Horizon itself is attacked by Apaches, and the majority of the people are killed. Some managed to get away into the hills, and that's where you see that family in the trailer. That family that's like hiding in the root cellar.
Yeah. So it's Sienna Miller and her daughter.
But even that, like that battle made like it wasn't. There was like no tension.
Yeah,
and there was no tension because like these people are able to barricade themselves. Like this family has a home on the hills overlooking Horizon. And some of the townspeople are able to barricade, and the family are able to barricade themselves in this house. And so they're like randomly shooting out windows, but like that's it. You don't really see you see the Apaches kind of like running on the roof for some reason.
You see one guy, and
then you kind of see them, but you don't really feel any. It's very oddly shot because it's like it's just them kind of shooting out of windows.
Yeah,
and you don't really see
a
whole lot of anything else.
Like you're watching like Gunsmoke. And
TV
it's just
exactly that's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's like an old 50s TV show, and you're like, where's the tension in this? And then at some point, because the house is partially on fire, one of the Apaches is fighting some guy
on the
roof, and they fall through the roof, and like there's like maybe half a dozen people in this house, a little more, and they kind of just ignore it.
Yeah,
they just continue to fire, and
the Apaches
there's an Apache like he's like trying to stab the guy, and the guy's like, help me, and like everybody's kind of just standing around like what's going on?
Yeah,
and then one of the guys that's wounded shoots the Apache warrior, who's just kind of just like on like he's about to bleed out, and he's the one that shoots. I was like, this is very obvious.
So weird.
It's very weird. I don't know. Anyhow, the family is the mother and the daughter are able to go into like the root cellar or whatever, and it collapses, so they kind of get stuck there.
That part I definitely felt the tension.
Yeah, for sure. When they were breathing through the gun tube.
Yeah, so she took the gun and she snaps it and uses the barrels to like as a snorkel basically.
Yeah.
But they're the only survivors in that place.
Right. And so
her husband and son
are killed, but then that's
get
when
a fun introduction at the dance where the son's like, I don't dance. And I was like, oh, that's gonna go somewhere. Nope, they're dead.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Also, it was kind of weird, like they share a room, and she's like, they're both in full clothing from the dance.
Yeah.
Like he's on the floor, like they're supposed to be asleep. And they're still wearing their clothes from the dance, and he's like on the ground. And she's like in her bed, but they're like still fully clothed. I was like,
weird.
I don't understand.
Who hasn't slept in the clothes of me? Goodbye.
but they're like sharing a room, but he doesn't have a bed. He's just on the ground.
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. I was like, I'm not sure what anyway. But yeah, then that's when Sam
Worthington, yeah,
his character comes in.
He's a cavalry general.
Yeah. Now there was a tense scene where one of the kids,
sergeant.
No, he's a captain, I think, or lieutenant, something like that. He's able to get away with a pair of horses. His kid who's like 12.
Oh yeah.
And the Apaches are chasing him down. Now that was a good scene because like the cinematography in this movie is beautiful, by the way. Yes. But like they're chasing him through the night. And he's able to because he takes two horses, so when one gets tired, he transfers the other. So he does this like move as the horses are running. Right. He like jumps to the next horse, and keeps going.
So the one horse dies, and
just kind of leaves him behind and shit. Yeah, and then he gets to the army post where Sam's character is at, and they respond to what happened at Horizon. And Sam Worthington his character makes a good point. It's like, why are you guys out here?
Right.
Like, we cannot protect you. Yeah, we're 100 miles away.
And it's like during the Civil War, so they're losing troops. They're like, we don't have the manpower out here.
Yeah, exactly.
In the West, because we're sending everyone out back east.
Yeah, because it takes place like in 1863 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
It's during the Civil War. And so Sam, there's a love story between like Sam Worthington's character and the mother.
Yeah,
they're kind of like,
feels like it could have happened. Like, it's so funny because this movie is so weird with time.
Yeah,
you don't know if it's been months or if it's been minutes since her husband died, and she's like, "This captain,
right?" It did seem like that. It did seem. I had the feeling it was like a couple months.
Yeah,
but I couldn't tell.
Yeah,
So anyhow, now the survivors of Horizon are living on this army post, and the soldiers are moving out to, I guess, go fight in the Civil War. I think
so. That's the whole, because that's when when he goes to visit the general and he's like, we need to send more troops this way to check on the Apache, and he's like, we don't got the troops,
Yeah, but then so there's kind of this cheesy part where the daughter that was of the survivor.
Oh, you're talking about she's
like 15 or 16?
Maybe
16,
maybe.
But she kind of acts like she's like 12 or something for a minute because like she's hugging the soldiers, and like she makes like little like
she cuts
flowers out of a quilt, and they're all wearing it.
They're like as a favor while they go to war.
Yeah, exactly. I was just okay.
It's just so much. There's much.
There's a lot of shit, man. There's a lot.
It's
of shit,
like someone he just threw like a million ideas.
It seems like.
But we're not done.
Oh no!
Well, no, but I'm
there's
just
a whole nother section.
I know that, but like I'm just saying, it seems like all this stuff is to set up the other movies, though.
But
that's we'll get to this.
Yeah. So then the final storyline is a wagon train.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about.
And Owen Wilson is in there, or Luke Wilson is in there.
Yeah.
And it's just like okay, he's like the captain of the wagon train,
right?
And the tension. I mean, that
part have a lot of water.
I feel that part was written better than the others, and it was acted better.
But it was a completely different movie.
It was a completely different movie, yeah. Because like now these settlers are moving through, and there's like these snooty British like settlers, who don't understand like the frontier, and as she's
bathing in the water,
right. As the men are like they're changing a wagon wheel, and all the men have to like participate because it's a very heavy thing, and they don't have any animals or jacks or anything to like jack the wagon up, and so like the British like husband, he's just like he's an artist, so he's like drawing, and I like that part. Luke Wilson's like, stand up. He's like you have to help. Like this isn't helping with pictures. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? So, but yeah, then later that night, his wife, the British settler is like she's like slowly bathing with the camp's water, which is like a problem.
The drinking water,
because it's a drinking water. And some of the guys
smell like shit, like the rest of us.
Some of the guys are like watching her in the distance, and she notices, and so Luke Wilson has to go over there and talk to him. Like, can't be doing that. But he gives a pretty good like spiel to like
and he doesn't really want to like. It feels like he didn't want to be a leader. Like he just got
he just got elected.
Elected, yeah. Because he's like, do I have to deal with this?
Exactly, shit? And so then, which was good. I thought that was the best acted and best written of all the storylines.
Yes,
because he brought up a good point. He's like. He tells like the British like husband, he's like, do you have any idea when we're going to find water again?
Right.
Because I don't.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be bathing. He's like, what's our water? He's like, it's not your water. It's the camp's water.
If the movie was, here's this wagon trail going cross country to this promised land of Horizon, that's a great movie. because then you know everyone in the wagon train. You got these groups. You got internal.
Kevin Costner's in there. Yeah, he's part of it as well. Yeah.
You know, you got internal conflict with the Russian guys that were staring.
Exactly.
But yeah, you've got this threat, the Apache. Like there's a great. They look out in the distance. There's 2 Apache on a cliffside.
Yeah.
Scouts. And they're like, oh, should we worry about that? He's like, we'll just put the livestock in the center of we'll round it up.
The wagon wheel. Yeah.
And
so
they like, there's stakes to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rest of the movie is just like so much padding.
Yeah, and they could still done like, I can't even remember what the name of the town was that Kevin Costner walks into, but there's a town where the shootout happens between him and the brother.
No clue.
And it's just like, you could have had the wagon train move through there.
Yeah.
On their way to the,
they could, if characters have met and then maybe gone their separate ways and meet back later,
right?
So
but he's doing it backwards. He's having all the characters, and then they're all going to meet up in the center.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, like
how is that story and the other stories actually going to affect each other? They won't.
Exactly, and so this has been done before. Like Game of Thrones did this,
right?
Well, until the end, all the characters have these different storylines, and now they're eventually they're all coming together for this one massive conflict.
This does feel like this was meant to be
a TV show.
Yeah,
exactly. It should have been a miniseries. Yeah, exactly. Because we basically saw the first 3 episodes of miniseries. Is what
it's
the movie
a Western Game of Thrones. That's a really great way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of just ends at the end. And the movie just finishes, and now it's like trailers for the next part.
That's
and you're like,
the weirdest thing ever.
Okay.
Like the story kind of dies. So Kevin Costner and the girl, it cuts back to Kevin Costner and the girl and the baby, and they're in this weird mining town because he's like, we need to stop here because I need to get some work because we're out of money.
Right. He's like driving a cattle train.
But no, at that point he becomes like a miner. Because he goes,
he leaves. Because he becomes a miner because he has to take off because he knows the other brother is coming for him.
Yeah.
So he takes off with Marigold and the baby.
Yes,
and that's when he starts working as a miner. Or whatever.
Because there's like him and the Chinese family.
Yeah, and she's still doing prostitution on the side.
Apparently, because we cut to a scene where she's banging some dude.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Run away with me." I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
why don't we have one fucking scene that establishes this relationship before he's like asking her to leave Kevin Costner and the baby?
Right, but then he like slaps her because she insults him
for no fucking reason.
That's like, the West, baby.
Yeah.
But it's like there's no establishment of who this guy. I don't even know.
And again, like you said, time. Like all of a sudden, I was like,
How long have they been
in this camp, and how long has he been working?
They've got a tent and a stove at that point.
Yeah, and like she's doing prostitution on the side. Like, how long have they been on the run? Because the last time we saw them, they were like in the woods, like hiding from.
Right. They could have cut back, and that kid would have been 22 years old. Right. Like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
like it doesn't make sense.
And apparently, it's still in the what's within a year or something like that. I don't know. But anyhow, so like the story is all these stories are because throughout every storyline, people are seeing these flyers for Horizon.
Yeah.
Go to the town Horizon. That's where there's this new promised frontier or whatever. So that's where everybody's converging towards.
Right.
Okay, fine. But it's just like I don't really care about any of the characters. I think the only characters I'm kind of concerned with are like, I guess, Luke Wilson's storyline.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens there.
Like, I don't care about, like, because she gives up the baby to the Chinese family.
Yeah, and then that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
And the Chinese family gets, like, a note from her going, like, take care of my kid.
Yeah.
And it's, like, a Horizon
as Kevin Costner's character is out working.
Yeah.
So I guess he's going to come back and take care of the child,
He's not, no, the child's gone.
Yeah. Oh.
So what's his motivation to do anything? Gone? Yeah, the Chinese family took the kid.
No, but she left him with them. Did they leave? I think
they left.
Oh, shit.
Because they were on the road to Horizon.
Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah.
I don't understand like what his motivation even.
And then like what happened to the mother? Is she still alive? We never found out.
Yeah, the mother, and because they were like, Paul wants to see her alive.
Oh, that's
so
right.
They drag her back to Montana.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But so there's this family.
Who knows if
who's like some kind of like cattle organized kind of crime family.
Yeah.
That they are the relatives of the man that Jenna Malone shot.
Yeah.
So they send the brothers after her, and then we don't that's it. Like, we don't really know that much about them.
And then the movie fades down. It doesn't even fade out. It goes to like 3 to 5 minutes of a sizzle reel for the next movie.
Right.
So here's all these shots and scenes are coming up.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the end of Back to the Future Part 2.
Yeah.
When they just start showing clips of Back to the Future 3. Yeah, and it's bum 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 bum, and then all these shit's happening.
It's just random shots of Kevin Costner with a different haircut shooting guys and
fighting them, and there's some kind of bar fight. Yeah. Now it all looked very interesting. Yeah. It seems like that movie's going to be better and more, I guess, moving faster than this one.
Right.
But
do you care?
The only thing I care about is finding out what happens to the settlers, with the wagon train. That's the only storyline I really cared about. Yeah. I guess maybe what happens between Kevin Costner and that older brother, because I want to see him in action.
Yes. That would be a good conflict.
Right. Yeah. But that's what they should have focused on. This family
that could have been the end of the first movie.
Exactly. This family, Kevin Costner wanders into this family's kind of orbit. And then they kill.
Or even the shootout with the brother could have been the end of this movie.
Yes,
and
exactly, that's true.
Some kind of
tension. Yeah. But that could have been it. It could have been Kevin Costner is just trying to mind his own business, and he runs into this family who has an issue with this other family, and he gets caught up in the middle of it. And now he's got to defend this kid. Right. Because he can't leave him behind to die. Right. It's just
and they take off on the road, and then the brothers see there's a fly. Kevin Costner had a flyer for Horizon.
Something, yeah.
To they're going to there, right? Something.
And and we said, he could have been part of that wagon train. Yeah. I don't know, dude. But they're all. So I guess he was trying to say because the frontier had so many different stories, and this is the story about the frontier. Right. I guess is what he was trying to get together, but it's very disjointed. It doesn't gel very well. I don't, no. and I wanted it to be very successful, this movie.
Would you say it would have been better if, let's say, each film followed 1 to 2 groups of people? So it's smaller.
Well, that's basically what it does.
Well, no. I mean, let's say this one, it only followed Kevin Costner's character, and then the I don't know, the mother who's hiding underneath the cellar with
yeah, that'd have been fine. If they focused on something other than these kind of disjointed four stories, right? Something like that. Yeah, stories. It would have made a lot more sense.
Well, because if it's 4 stories, then if you have the 4 movies, each movie is the story of said group or whatever like that. And then,
right, I get what you're saying.
And they'll cross paths with the other ones in their own movie or like that. And I guess at the end of each movie there are in Horizon or whatever like that. I don't know, but
the ending of all 3 stories of them landing in Horizon, and your last movie is the.
And even the same
Avengers Endgame of Westerns.
The same things can happen, and then you just get the POV of what's happening at the same time at this situation, type of thing like that. So I don't know. I mean,
I think he needed a better editor is the problem. I think he need. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the behind the scenes with this movie. I don't know if he edited it himself or he was just. I know he was directing it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think he might have kind of been. Which is kind of what happens, with a project that is just one person's vision. It's just tunnel. It becomes tunnel vision, and so there's nobody kind of around to tell him listen, man, you need to cut that part with the guy in the beginning that goes to the old church, and there's another dude there, and then that's it. Those 2 guys kind of disappear. Right. You need to cut that part.
It doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
Then it showcases 2 really good actors.
Really good actors,
and they're classic journeyman, guys you've seen in a million things, Yeah. I was just looking up their budget.
That's what I was looking at too. $100 million.
$100 million for 2 movies. So
that's not bad, dude. That's not bad. $100 million for 2 movies.
And reportedly Kevin Costner put $38 million of his own money into it.
Yeah, because he's been wanting to get this done for a long time.
But it only has made $22 million.
Jesus Christ.
So
man, I feel it for him, man, because I feel that American audiences are kind of craving these movies again, where it's just the mysterious stranger with these tough circumstances he's got to face down, and these characters who are going down a tough road, and it's their story and how they're going to overcome this. But it's just it's like we were saying, it's not the superhero CGI bullshit.
No,
it's not.
There's not a lot. I mean, for a $100 million movie, I'm like, there's not a lot to it. I mean, it's a lot of beautiful desert vistas,
right,
and some really small towns that were built really quickly.
Yeah,
like 10 towns.
I could see this one and the other one. They probably should have been released in the fall.
Yeah,
well, that's the other problem is I don't know why it was released now.
Middle of summer.
Summer's terrible. Not great, and you're not going to get the older group out to the theater now because some still stay home and some are too just old.
Yet again, a 3-hour movie, so you can only do so many showings. You know, and you're right. Like all the big summer movies are coming in.
Yeah.
So it was in the theaters for 5 minutes, and then obviously like Despicable Me 4 shows up, and it's just like all those movies take over the screens.
Yeah.
You do a slow, like if this came out March or something, you could have had it on the screens a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
And then do the next one in the fall,
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I feel like, and I don't know, I have no facts behind this, but I feel like they're pushing the second one because maybe they're doing some reshoots.
Oof, I hope not, man. That's expensive.
Yeah.
That's expensive. I don't. He said that he's kind of broke for that. He might have to sell his house, he said.
Oh.
Kevin Costner. And I feel for him because I wanted him to be successful because it's like, He knows
he's betting on himself.
He's betting on himself, and we know he takes some wild risks, man.
Yeah.
Waterworld, The Postman, he takes some wild risks.
What you're saying though is that this movie makes The Postman pretty good.
It doesn't.
Yeah, I think you're thinking.
I never said that.
Yeah,
I never said that. Did I ever say that, Watson?
You know what? I gotta check the tape.
I'm gonna invoke Law 7 on that. I'm gonna invoke Law 7 on that.
I think that which movie would I rather sit down and watch? Definitely Horizon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Postman is just.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. Wait, what? Why did they do that?
There was a lot of that in this one. Though.
Yeah, well, that's true. I think the problem with Kevin Costner is like he's really good story. He's a really good storyteller, apparently he left Yellowstone because of the same reason. He gets a vision in his head, and nobody can dissuade him.
Right.
It's like, no, this is what I want to do. It's like I want to do this, and they're like, and people are like, Kevin. The thing is, we can't budget this. We got to edit that. No. This is believe me, guys, this is going to work. Mm-hmm. Like I did Dance with Wolves. Did you do Dance with Wolves?
Right.
Did you do? No, I didn't do Dance. Okay, I did Dance with Wolves. It's that kind of thing.
Well, like, they just took, I think it was last year, they took Baz Luhrmann's Australia, the big epic Australia movie he made, and they re-edited it to a miniseries on Disney Plus, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I think you could do that with this. I think you could take this tale and put on, like, Paramount Plus or CBS or whatever will take it, re-edit as a miniseries, and you could actually kind of repackage it and save it.
I think as on Apple Plus or like you said Paramount, I think it would have been great.
Yeah.
And if you kind of cut down some of the stuff in it, it would have been great.
Don't introduce 75 characters that don't have names.
Man, it's just I don't know.
A lot of guys with mustaches.
Can you imagine trying to do Game of Thrones as a movie?
Right.
It's just it'd have been like, what is happening? I don't know.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what this is.
Yeah. I want the director's cut, 12 hours.
All steel
one
box.
Movie, steel box.
Yeah.
4K.
150 characters. In and out.
Just a lot of people show up on screen and are like, my pa loves pie, and then they get shot.
And that's it.
That is in itself is the West.
Yeah.
That kind of is the West.
Yeah.
So you get shot for no reason out there.
Yeah.
There's no law.
It is very funny. Like the Million Ways to Die in the West is like very much a satirical look at like movies like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but like I said, I wanted to be successful because Kevin Costner is just an old school filmmaker. Like, let's just tell a good story. No bullshit. It's just like let's go out. And again, he takes these wild risks. He Dances with Wolves, The Postman, Waterworld, and Yellowstone. And sometimes he hits, and sometimes he does. Yeah. He hit with Dances with Wolves. He hit with Yellowstone.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of whips.
It's just not.
I mean, his career's pretty good.
Yeah.
Maybe
exactly.
he
takes some big whiffs, on very expensive whiffs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe he was. Rewatched one of his old movies and he's like, if I build it, if I film it, they will come.
His agent right now is swaying, going like, so Tin Cup 2's script is in.
Tin Cup, that's a deep one.
Hey, I fucking love Tin Cup.
Tin Cup's a good movie.
Bring back Cheech.
Yeah.
Did you
just make this real quick, make some money?
Speaking of westerns, though, did you see Viggo I forget. Did we talk about that?
We didn't talk about. I never watched. Did you watch it?
Never said, no,
yeah, I didn't even. I was waiting. I was like,
his
it was like in theaters.
Yeah,
it was in theaters for like
Western as well.
It was in theaters for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
well, and I was waiting for it, and I was like, it's already out.
It was a limited release.
Yeah,
into like some. Like probably the Limley
and
other theaters.
And I wanted to watch it because I like Viggo Mortensen a lot.
Yeah.
And I like Westerns. Yeah. And I need Westerns to be successful right now. So it's just like, I don't know, like, it just didn't, it was just there and it was gone.
Yeah.
I was like,
I didn't remember when it came. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the trailer and I was like,
I think it was
I was like, the trailer looks great. I'll watch it.
2 to 3 months ago, maybe?
Yeah. And then, like, I don't remember seeing it on my AMC Plus app.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably...
It'll definitely be on streaming soon, yeah. So I'll pay for it.
Yeah,
because I'll pay to rent it.
You'll buy the DVD, you'll buy the
Blu-ray, exactly.
Look at it.
And I mean, like it's hard when you're. I don't think anyone ever has it completely down when they're trying to do like 4 movies. That's a big like James Cameron. He's taken 10+ years to do Avatar, and like. He's got time, but he also has the money to back it up. But even so, I forget. Did the second one break any record of
Avatar? I mean, it made its money back.
It made its money back, but it did not. I don't think it made as
much as the first.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like I think technically those movies could also be television as well. Like if you wanted, but obviously I know he's big on it being in the theater and whatnot, but like it's just with a Western, sometimes you have to retread the old tropes to get what people really liked of it. Like from what you guys described, it's bits and pieces of it, but they didn't get the heart of it down. And like I mean, obviously the ridiculousness of the shootouts in the town, you're not gonna get that because we've had better movies that did that better. Where it was more realistic, or
like Tombstone.
I mean, like even though Tombstone is a little hyper real, and like Wyatt Earp was a little more realistic with that. Where although I don't think that one did too great.
Wyatt Earp?
Yeah.
No, I did not. Well, Tombstone kicked its ass.
Yeah, I mean, Unforgiven was definitely one of those that was like.
Well, I mean, did Wyatt Earp come out at the same time as Tombstone?
Same
really?
Year. Yeah. Same
oh my god, I didn't know that.
That's it was the dueling Wyatts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's true.
So just I'm sorry.
No, go on.
The Dead Don't Hurt, the Viggo Mortensen movie.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Will be streaming July 16th.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Well, I'll watch. I'll definitely watch it.
Play that on repeat.
Yep, exactly.
Check it out.
Let me ask you this, Watson: Are you gonna if it does release in theaters, are you gonna watch the second part?
I will. I mean, again, that the sizzle reel did get me excited. For
yeah,
it,
me too.
I mean, I feel like I earned something because that first one is so much
that's
setup.
the way to put it. Yeah,
I'm just like I need something, and so. The trailer looked good. The little sizzle for part 2. I was like, okay. I already bought my ticket for August, so I guess that's done.
How does that work?
I don't know. I don't know if I guess I'm getting a refund, but
well, let me tell you this: I'm gonna go in blind on the second one, not even see the first. Like, what is going on?
Oh, you're gonna love it, dude.
Oh my god,
it's gonna be like an acid
trip. If
trip.
it's edited like the first one,
maybe
it's getting a re-edit instead of reshoots. I don't know.
Maybe. It might get a re-edit.
I mean, like, I haven't read any actual reviews of it where people breaking it down the same way, where it was just so convoluted.
I mean, people were saying what we're saying. It's like there's a lot of good nuggets in it.
Yeah.
But it's too long, and some characters come and go. But people also
there's
a lot
of fat on it.
Yeah.
You could definitely cut out a good 40 minutes out of this movie.
But people are also saying they appreciate that he tried, because it's a movie that we haven't seen since, like, the late 90s,
Yeah.
It's like early 2000s. It's one of those movies it's just...
I thought we would get more.
It's believable.
I thought we'd get more with the Apaches as well, because there's a few scenes where they go back to the Apaches and they're talking to the elders.
Well, yeah, that's the part we skipped over. The Apaches there's an older generation that's saying we need to chill because there's a lot of them and there's not that many of us, and they have and
the young ones are all.
And the young ones are like ready to kill, like they're ready to go out, like we have to defend our territory.
But then that goes nowhere. That's like one scene.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just like.
And I thought he was going to do like a whole these are all the different elements of the West.
Yeah, that's true.
But
at least we did see the Apaches' perspective.
Yeah.
And you do understand what's happening is like they are invading these people's territory, like their lands,
Right.
But you don't, unfortunately.
Well, they say that was their hunting ground first.
Right, exactly.
That river that Horizon is built on is like where the deer was.
Right. And they're driving all the game away.
Yeah. So that's why they're attacking this town to get rid of them. They feel like if we attack it, they'll go away, and then we can have our land back.
Sounds a little like Avatar.
A little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it does feel like they villainized the Apache pretty
a little bit, yeah. It does. It did seem like it's not as sympathetic to them as, say, Dance with Wolves.
Yeah, I was watching going like, well, this is very old school Western.
In a way.
I mean, I could probably see them chasing that in one of the sequels of the movies a little bit more. Because, Hostiles, they did a great job with, getting both sides.
Oh, with Christian Bale?
Yeah, Christian Bale.
Yeah. Hostiles is great.
Yeah,
that's a, you know what I'm saying?
And the thing with, the Western is, you got to stick... You need to go on that journey with it, because going across the West, that's a large place to explore.
Yeah.
And if you're jumping from character that we don't know the distance between, them and whatever, miles, kilometers, whatever.
Right.
And I think if you're on that journey with them wherever they're going, you attach to it. You would get attached to them a bit more. So if you don't get that, I feel like that loses itself. And it's less of a Western, and it's more a movie about the West. It's not. It's it's almost like a documentary. Here's some acted out reenactments of little scenes from the West. So I don't know. Maybe he should have tried to approach it like Deadwood, where I could see it this if they're already all in Horizon, the town's built up, and then it's flashbacks of things how they got there, and maybe. Some stories in between that interact in the town of shootouts.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
So I don't know. It's just it's hard to, when you know where the person's going, and then you're going this avant-garde way of just, here's all these little things, but it's and we have to wait for these 3 other movies to put it all together. You're kind of going to lose interest.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to go losing interest, with the first one.
Right, so that's why it's just you. The first one, it has to be a simpler story, lively characters, and it strives into that next one where maybe, any video game, when you're playing Final Fantasy or something, you start off as one, your group starts growing, and this is probably how it should have been, where it starts with either Kevin Costner or Luke Wilson, and their caravan, their group grows as the movies as they get closer. Right. So. I mean, even with the Earps, you see the family travel together. It's even in Unforgiven, it's the 3 of them hunting for the... But then it would cut to the villains, obviously, because that's what you have to do to give some, meaning behind it.
There's some really great performances in it. Like you said, Luke Wilson's doing great work.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner's doing great work. Yeah. The 2 brothers the are fantastic. I wouldn't more of them.
I was shocked that he died so quickly. The younger one.
Yeah, because I thought that would stretch that out.
Right.
And I was totally captivated with with the Apaches. There's the wife of one of the guys who wants to join the rebels, and I was just like, who is this? She's amazing.
Yeah.
And I thought that story would go somewhere. And
right, and it didn't. Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, they're probably going to go more into detail with them in the second, but
I would love to see the script, just to see how.
Jeez, yeah.
Because if well, I mean,
didn't they shoot?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, did he write out all 4 movies as one script?
I'm pretty sure he did. I think it seems like he's been working on this for a long time. For apparently last 20 years or something. He's been wanting to get this done. So I'm pretty sure he wrote it out. A good chunk of it. I don't know if he's credited as a writer on it, but
because I'd wonder the way you're telling me it jumps around. How that's written into the script, I don't know. I could see that being more of a novel, written as a novel, the way you described it. But that's why I'm I don't know.
Yeah, there's not even a written by in this, so he must have written it, which is I don't know, man. It's
from the twisted brain of Kevin Costner.
I mean, I don't. If you like westerns, I guess I would recommend the film, but if you're not willing to sit through 3 hours of kind of these meandering stories, I don't know. I'm not. I wouldn't say a waste of my time, and I still give it a B.
Yeah.
Not even a B- or B+, just a solid B. But I don't. I mean, I just wish that it had gone through in the editing booth a little more.
Yeah.
Look,
it's hot right now. It's very hot.
Right.
We're at 100 degrees.
Yeah.
Go yourself into a movie theater.
Yeah.
Sit down in the AC for 3 hours.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Watch a flick.
No.
Now, would you...
I was actually cold when I was watching this, too. Yeah.
Would you... obviously, you probably... I don't know if you'd go again to the theater to see the same movie, or would you watch it at home?
Yeah, I mean, I would go to the theater just because I want to support films like this and support Westerns right now.
The hard thing about this, too, because of the pacing...
Yeah.
It'd be hard not to pause and go do something.
Yeah, I was about to say, would I prefer to watch it at home? Yes. But yeah, I'll go to theaters to support it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I prefer to watch at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sitting there, I was like, what's happening? Like, there are parts where I wanted to rewind and be like, wait, what did I miss? Did I miss something? Because I had to go to the like I said, I had to go to the bathroom. I was gone for like less than 5 minutes. It came back, and all of a sudden they're squaring off.
Jumps,
and I was like, "What happened? Like, did he step on his shoe or something?" And he was like, "What the fuck, bro?" I thought that's maybe what happened, but apparently it's just they just kind of starts bothering the Kevin Costner out of nowhere, and
Kevin Costner's like, "Just leave me alone."
Right. That's the general feeling I got. But like, when I came back, they were already walking towards the house, and he was already antagonizing Kevin Costner. I was like. When I left,
it doesn't just really escalate. It just stays at that level.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
and then they're drawing guns.
Yeah, exactly. Which was weird because it's like, well, okay, I get the guy's a hothead, but it's like he can't be that much of a hothead.
The only way I could justify it is like he knows that Kevin Costner is going to the same house that he is,
right?
And he's like, my job is to shoot everyone in that house. I'm going to shoot this guy first.
But the thing was, like, I thought, okay, this is the other problem that I had with that storyline. Is like. I know his job was to kill anybody in the house, but I thought also his job was to get the baby back.
It was. That's what the older brother tells him to do.
Tell him to do, right? Yeah.
But I think that character
was ready to kill. Yeah, because that's when Kevin Costner, we see in the trailers, like, oh, he's ready to kill everybody in that house.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was within the character of that younger brother. Him being a hothead and just blasting.
Yeah, he was very like Johnny Ringo.
Yes, except not as smart. Yeah.
Were there any Pinkertons in the movie?
No.
Really?
No Pinkertons, yeah.
Because I wonder if at some point they'd introduce like a baron running the railroad.
Well,
I can't have you.
There's no railroad at this time.
Yeah, there's no railroad. It's still the 1860s.
I thought it was 1860s.
No, the railroads didn't come until like the 1880s.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're still establishing communities.
See, my brain anytime like I think of the
That'll
West.
Be in the third movie.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah.
Anytime I think of
get Gene Hackman out of retirement for it.
Man, that'd be awesome, dude.
96-year-old Gene Hackman.
That'd be awesome.
Anytime I think of the West, I think of Bruce Campbell's television show. I'm blanking on the name.
Crisco Kid or something.
Yeah,
like
the Briscoe County Jr.
Crisco, yeah. Wow,
Briscoe County Jr.
So good
because it was like on the cusp of the industrialization of America.
That's right. Yeah,
and then also you could think of
it was very steampunk.
Wild Wild West.
Yeah,
in a way,
the
hit blockbuster film
based on a really good
breaking
TV
all
show.
sorts of records. Will Smith,
Kevin
Kline,
Wicked Wild Wild West,
Jim West, Desperado,
Kenneth Branagh doing a Southern gentleman with no legs.
He sold the movie for me. That was the only part I really loved. Yeah, but I loved the hamming. He served up a nice hump of ham with honey glaze.
He knew exactly what movie he was in. Yeah.
No, the thing is be the best in the worst movie and you're good.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
What are you talking about?
Kenneth Branagh. He was Alice Loveless. Where he's like, I'd stand up, but he's in a wheelchair, and it's like, oh yeah, it was great. It's like, I do believe. I loved it.
Is that Shakespearean?
Give me more of that. Yeah,
he's a classically trained Shakespearean actor. He's that. Yeah,
he gave us that Henry V performance there. That's
right.
Yeah. It's a little weird that they went to like a British guy, and they're like, we've got plenty of Southern actors.
That's the thing. Like, who better to portray a goofy Western than like a person from another country? To be
true.
Because it was more of a caricature.
Because like in the actual show, Arliss is a small person.
Yes.
And I was like, I see they went a little tasteful.
Right,
and put him in a wheelchair without his lower half. So I was like, hey, that works.
And it was more sci-fi.
Steampunk sci-fi.
Yeah. Kevin Kline was in that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Kevin
Avanti.
Kline. Kevin Kline, who
it was like James Bond Spy Kids mixed with
which is what the show was like too.
Yeah.
The show was
which
very
I didn't know.
Mission Impossible.
I didn't know that
in the West.
Right.
I thought they randomly just made it that way for the movie, and then I saw some of the show. I was like, oh,
my uncle loved that show. We'd watch that like all the time. Like he'd show like any kind of show from the xt, like Wild Wild West, Time Tunnel, Land of the Giants was like one of his favorites. Wow. So we watched all of that. Lost in Space, he still watches.
Like I loved the reason I think I really liked Wild Wild West when I was younger was because since I was such a big Briscoe County Jr. fan, and it did
kind of translates.
It translates, but it also had like time travel in it, and it's like I just love the weird
and wacky
West wackiness of it. Yeah. So I was just like. That's why I wanted to like it, but then after time, I was like, okay, it's not really.
TV in the 60s was very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
Like they were just because they had no they just
Twilight
started.
Zone was part of that.
Yeah, because it was this like new venture in color, and we could just go crazy.
Yeah,
and everybody's on acid, man.
That's true.
Pretty much.
Speaking of acid,
speaking of theater movies, Quiet Place Part 2. Well, not Part 2. Excuse me.
Day one.
Excuse me.
3.
Yeah. Part 3 is the prequel.
Yes. Speaking of prequels.
Speaking of prequels, we all watched it, right?
I did not.
Oh, do you care about spoilers?
No, I mean it's a prequel. So
it's aliens come and
I know
they're attracted to sound.
Nothing is added to the lore, really.
No, the entire movie was the relationship between Lupita Nyong'o's character and
Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg, yes.
He does look
he does look like Mark Zuckerberg.
Anytime I saw that trailer when I was in the movies, I was like, he looks exactly like Mark Zuckerberg. Yeah, it's weird.
What's the actor's name?
Joseph Quinn.
Yeah. It's about their relationship, which I really like that. That's what the movie's about, and it's just the backdrop of the alien invasion.
Yeah.
Which
so they're actually in a relationship?
No. The relationship in terms of like the friendship they form.
Two people come together and you could take away the alien part and just say it could have been an earthquake. It could be anything.
Yeah, that was about to say. It could be anything. It could be.
But what about that cat though?
That cat's sick.
The cat is hilarious. Yeah.
How does that cat stay so goddamn quiet?
Yeah. Well, cats are quiet.
That cat doesn't meow once.
Cats are quiet.
Movie.
Yeah.
That's because that cat.
I was waiting for that cat to get eaten so fast. I was waiting for that cat to be like purr, dead.
Yeah. Right.
Like a lion, man. A lion.
Do you want to give some background on it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a fan of the first two movies. Yeah. I think John Krasinski made this incredible world where it's like the tension that you get from just like these movies, like sound design is so impressive.
Yeah.
And so this is the first day of the invasion. The other two movies take place a couple hundred days. After the
couple months,
400 something from the trailer.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
and so over about a year.
Yeah.
So this is and it's set, of course, in New York City, the loudest. They tell you from the beginning they're saying New York City on average is like a 90 decibels.
Yeah.
So it's like the amount of noise that a scream would be.
The constant scream.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
That's how loud New York is. So what happens when you get some aliens that kill everything that makes a noise? So Lupita Nyong'o's character is you see her start off in hospice care. She's dying of cancer.
Cancer, yeah.
And she's from the city, and I think they're in like New Jersey or something.
Hey,
dirty Jersey.
And like her nurse is like, "Look, we're gonna get a group. We're going to the theater in New York." And she's like, okay, as long as I get a slice of pizza.
Yeah. Does she have a Jersey accent in this?
No.
Does she or he?
Yeah, she.
No.
Nobody has accents in this movie.
That's true. Everyone's doing their regular voices.
Yeah.
Nobody's just like, hey.
And the guy's from Britain.
The guy's from Britain?
Yeah.
Yeah. Joseph Quinn's. Well, he's really British.
He's really British. And in the movie, he's from Britain, too.
Yeah. I mean, but it makes sense for his character because we'll get to it, but he can't navigate New York, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the nurse is like, yeah, we'll get. He's like, we had pizza here last night, and she was like, I wasn't pizza.
Yeah.
She wants
it from a specific. Yeah.
Yes.
She wants from a specific restaurant.
She wants to go up to
She should have an accent if she has her own particular pizza place. I mean, come on.
It's true, actually. Like her backstory.
And she also bags on New Jersey pizza. So.
Well, I mean,
and that's why the aliens come.
That's why her character is dying.
Oh Jesus Christ! So you find out she's a poet, and she's been writing poetry for about her experience dying and stuff, and the nurse is like, look, it'll be good for you to get out, and she's like, okay. And you see her like she's taking like fentanyl patches to keep the pain at bay. And they go into town, and it's like a marionette puppet show. And she's like, "What is this bullshit?" Yeah. So she hits the streets, and she's like, "I just want to get out of here," kind of thing. And basically, they run into. Is that when? Yeah, Damien Hunsu is in the theater. As well.
He's there as just attending it.
Yeah, he's in this part 2.
Yeah, I saw him in the trailer.
So this is kind of like his backstory too, which I guess is like the connective tissue.
Yeah.
They're just loose.
Right.
And then so they're getting on the bus, and then you see basically meteorites coming down.
Yeah, it's
and
carrying the aliens. Yeah.
Yeah. And hitting and
then Eddie Griffin goes, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. Oh my! Please make a fan cut.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Oh shit, that's good. Yeah.
And then you have the little dog versus the cat.
Yeah.
Which is like her emotional support.
Yeah, she has a cat. It's emotional support.
Which is named Frodo, which I love.
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
And so you see like the kind of the aftermath of them hitting the floor, and it's like it's very 9/11-esque.
Yeah.
Everyone's covered in ash and soot.
Yeah.
And there's just dust in the air, and as people are like screaming, they're just getting taken away.
Yeah.
Oh,
damn.
And
what are the aliens, the crawlers, whatever they're called?
They're called Death Angels.
Is that what they call them?
That's what I heard.
Oh, okay.
So, is that what the humans call them, or is that what they're
no one
actually
no one says
them?
that. No one says that. But like,
okay.
instead of just calling them aliens, I don't know what they're called on screen.
Oh,
Death
okay.
Angels. That's kind of stupid.
Yeah. But so she's kind of in shock, and is that when she passes out?
She passes out. Yeah. So like there's.
She's like tries to hide under a car.
Yeah.
People are just getting wrecked.
Right. Or that was later when she tries to hide under the car. This is like, I think a car like hits her.
All right.
Or something like that, and then she wakes up, and then they're in the movie theater, and people are like huddling down, being quiet.
Yeah,
they did something very clever in the her nurse. They did something very clever in the trailer. Her nurse dies going out to try to shut down. They lose power in the theater, and the generator
comes on. Yeah,
but in the trailer, it's like some random old man that goes out there and gets taken. In the movie, did you notice that? In the trailer, it's her nurse who she's
like the
friends
one guy
with.
she knows.
Yeah, she knows, and like this, like the audience likes, and he goes out and he shuts it down, and he's the one that gets like and she's out there and she's like holding her her breath in because she doesn't want to make a noise,
Yeah, like he shuts down the generator in time, but then his like shirt gets caught, and he goes, and you're like, oh shit,
which is like I don't know, it's weird. The sound, the
echolocation of it is a little funky.
The echolocation of the aliens or whatever it is kind of weird because it's like,
does anyone fart and get taken away?
Negative.
That'd be great.
Negative.
You gotta at least have one. Come on,
Kevin James.
All those people eating pizza in New York City.
But that's her. That's what she wants to have one last slice of.
Yeah.
What's it called? Luigi's or something like that?
No, it was.
Apparently it's
like P. Damn.
Is it like a Rio pizza place? I think it is. I think
so. Up in Harlem. So basically, they're all stuck in this theater, and they go up to the roof, and they see that the military is taking out the bridges.
Yeah.
So that the aliens will be stuck on the island.
Yeah.
And then pretty much.
But now they're go ahead.
No, and then the helicopters go by, and they say, "Stay inside."
Yeah. Don't make a noise.
Yeah. And then they're like, we're going to start evacuating from the south. The creatures can't swim. We're going to start sending boats to the south side of the island, and we can evacuate there.
Which was a good idea, but kind of dumb. The way they implemented it was dumb.
Yes. So we'll get to start seeing, she's on the street heading towards the south, and you start seeing the trickling of people coming out, and everyone's trying to be quiet,
but it's just like thousands of people in the street.
And it's a beautiful, yet again, the sound is great in this movie because it just slowly builds of just these little like tick, 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 everyone's walking.
Yeah.
Someone's got like a wheelchair and it's going, it's like,
and you see the aliens like on the buildings around, like looking down, like trying to converging on that street.
Well, like I'd have a question where, let's say the military is around. If they flew a helicopter high enough, and then that was loud enough to
in a way, but what the military would do is they would fly over and say, we're going to start bombing this one area, or fly over this one area. If you're in this area, evacuate, head south, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they would just fly over that area and just like drop ordnance and create tons of noise. So the I'm going to call them skidders. The skidders would like head towards.
They start playing Panama.
Yeah, Panama, or start playing music, or start dropping ordnance, start a fuckload of noise.
Wouldn't they want to wait till they got there to drop the ordnance?
So the problem is that these things have very tough armor that nothing penetrates it. Like that's what they established in the first one. Yeah. The only
their faces kind of open
up, and that's the only thing that can. That's the only like weak point on them. Yeah. But that's what the military would do. But in this, they're just like, just evacuate, and then they don't do anything aside from have ferries. It's just like, come on,
They kind of show...
They do that, but they do that for the final scene to happen.
Yeah. Well, and they show that, like, one of the guys is on, like, a radio, like, with a headset, and there's a map where he's pointing out on the map where all the invasions are taking place. So he's got, like, there's, like, a flag on L.A., on Denver, so it's like, this is happening all over the country. Right. So I'm sure, like, resources are thin.
Yeah.
So everyone starts heading south, and she kind of turns and starts heading north. She's like, she's
heading towards Harlem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like in like lower town Manhattan somewhere.
Theater district.
And is it stated, like, I guess on TVs or radio, that this is happening all over the world, or is this just
it is
bubble in New York?
But they make it seem like New York, it hasn't spread from New York, it seems, because the military's still active and they blow up the bridges.
Yeah, I think they try to contain it.
But they do say that there have been drops of these meters all over the country.
Yeah.
Is a certain amount of time taking place throughout the movie? Like,
it's like 3 days, 4 days.
3 days?
Like that, yeah.
So she starts heading in one everyone's heading one direction. She's going the other direction. That's when we meet Joseph Quinn's character, who kind of emerges out of a sewer, like the subway is flooded, and he kind of like gets out of the subway, and then
one of the subway entrances is filled with water. He pops out at this last minute,
and he sees her and starts heading towards her.
Yeah,
and she's like, go south. Like she's just like, or it starts raining.
Yeah.
Which this is a good bit, because like she figures out, like, if your voice is under the rain,
it's hard for them to hear.
They can't hear you. So she's just like, just go south, and he's like, I don't know where south is.
Right.
Like, he just wants to follow her.
He explains to her, he's like, I'm from England and I'm here for law school.
Yeah.
And they imply that he just barely got there.
Yeah, like he's still in a suit for his and
he stays in the suit the whole time, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so she just starts heading one way. It's like the cat finds him, and when they attack the group of people trying to evacuate,
she loses the cat and runs off. When everybody, the entire audience was like, when I was watching, like, no. But then he pops. Yeah, he pops out of the subway and he's like gasping for air, and the cat finds him, and he follows the cat.
That's what it is.
Yeah. So then this cat is like, he has to go out at some point because they're heading towards this piece, but she's dying of cancer, so she needs her medication. She runs out of it. So he's like, what do you need? Like, where can I get this?
They go back to her apartment.
And so she gives him the medication he needs, and the cat, like, he leaves, and the cat, like, comes up out of nowhere, and it's just like, hey, what's up? Let's go. So he gets the medication, but then at one point they find,
the cat knows where the plot needs to go.
Right, exactly. And at one point they find, like, a breeding ground or feeding ground for the aliens. I didn't really understand what that part was.
It showed like one of the impact areas of these meteorites, and they have these kind of spore, spongy, like I guess mushrooms growing on them,
and they're like feeding.
And they're feeding on. So it's like the creatures kill humans, but they don't eat them.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why, like, there's so many bodies scattered around. Right. It's like they're all clawed and stuff, but they're not. They're not
eating them. Yeah.
So it's just kind of like they're just taking out people.
Right,
and they're eating whatever's on this spore stuff.
I thought it was implied that maybe they're like chewing them up and like spitting them out.
Yeah, I thought.
And then
so,
they're just like, and then it creates
or something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, so like,
kind of
they don't really explain. They don't really, They
got 7 more movies to make for this.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff. Yeah, right. Yeah, they don't really explain.
Right.
The only thing they've explained about the aliens so far is that they have armor that nothing can penetrate, and that they attack sound. And then we got this in this movie, that they eat some kind of mushroom looking thing. Yeah. But the cat wanders in there, and the guy goes after him and is like, "Hey, come here!" And like the cat goes up on this like
on a girder,
and he's like hanging out there, and he has to go like climb up there and get him while these things are below feeding
right next to him.
Right next to him, yeah. And so it's a pretty tense scene. And then, but luckily, then all of a sudden we find him like he has medicine with, and he's back
so
with,
he finds the fentanyl and gives it to her.
Yeah,
and then her it starts raining, and it's a beautiful scene actually. Like
when they're in the bar.
No, I was gonna say in her apartment.
Oh yes.
And he reads her poetry about like, they told me I had years to days to months, and it's like I've passed that date.
Yeah.
And he knows like she's dead.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
And he's like, "What are you going north for?" And she's like, "I gotta go to this one pizza joint." She's like, in my heart, there's like, they're never going to make that pizza again. There's got to be one slice for me.
Yeah.
And
respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just gorgeous. And she was talking about like her dad played piano at a bar near this pizza place, and then she'd go watch him play, and then they would go and get pizza. So it's like it's special.
She wants to experience it one last time, like it's a good memory before she passes away. So they get to the pizza place and it's burned down.
Yeah.
And she's like completely defeated. So they go into like a pub.
They go to the bar that he played because he goes, "Where did your dad play?"
Right.
And so they go to the bar, and they have a drink.
Yeah.
And he runs down the street to a shitty 99-cent pizza joint, and writes the name of the Billy she wanted to go on the box, and brings it to them, and they sit there and they have a drink and they eat a slice of pizza. It's like really,
that's a beautiful scene, man. And then he does like a magic trick with her as his assistant.
Yeah.
And they're bound to the crowd. That's, that non-existent crowd. It's that part. So like that movie really, that scene really solidified what the movie's about, which is like, it's these two characters interacting and bonding in the background of this like apocalypse.
Yeah.
And like you said, it could have been anything. It could have been a zombie apocalypse. It could have been an earthquake. It could have been anything. I love
like, they didn't try to go like, oh, will these two hook up? It's like, no, it's just these two humans.
I love that too.
Just learning to trying to live.
Exactly. I love that too. Yeah.
Outside the pizza place, I think it would have been funny if they added Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports. He does pizza reviews. He was just outside when the attack happened, reviewing the pizzas. Like, here, everybody knows the rules. One bite, and then just I was like,
he's gone.
He's just gone.
He
just gets a cameo. That would be funny.
But then at the end, they're like, okay, let's evacuate. So she decides that she's going to try to stick it out.
They see the boat is circling the island, and they see it. And so they're like, let's try to head for it, And there's the boat is like blaring its horn, so all the the critters
which is like
around
what
it.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
like I know they're trying to like let survivors know,
right?
But again, in that situation, the military would be on the far north side of Manhattan. They'll be creating a shitload of noise,
right?
To draw them in. That's what would really happen, and that's. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do this, but they did it because of this for the final scene to happen. Yeah. So they get to the extraction point, and Lupita's like, okay, take the cat.
Yeah.
And
the sweater. She's wearing this yellow sweater, and she gives it to him.
Yeah.
And you see, it's actually her dad's sweater.
Her dad's sweater. Yeah, exactly. So it was nice. Oh, but I also want I forgot we forgot to kind of glossed over something. He's having panic attacks.
Oh yeah.
From his time, because we don't know exactly what happened to him in the subway. We assume he was in the subway when it flooded, and he almost died. So he's having panic attacks. There's a point where they have to, which is weird because like they go into the sewers to like get around certain things.
They try to go across they go on top. On the streets to try and get across town.
Yeah.
And then they realize it's just too much activity up there.
Right.
So they get into a subway tunnel.
Yeah.
Not the greatest idea.
Not the greatest idea at all. They go into the subway tunnel and then this is a different section but it's also flooded.
Yeah.
And then they go in there and there's a part where they have to go underwater because they run into one of the skitters, the creatures.
Yeah, just like on the roof of this.
Yeah. But there's a lot of water down there moving around, so it's like sloshing around. It's like naturally running on its own.
Yeah.
somehow they trigger its whatever. Again, the physics of the animals are weird. Yeah, they get triggered whenever the script needs them to get triggered.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyhow, they're able to get under the water, and sure as shit, it follows them, and it goes under, and it drowns like immediately,
instantly. Yeah,
it's just like it even holds its breath, and it holds its neck, and it just dies.
Doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, so
these aliens come here, and they don't even like our water.
Oh, that's shitty.
But another great part was that so as she's having a panic attack, I love this about the cat because like both times that the humans needed the cat, like especially humans having a panic attack, like they hug him, and they hold him close. It's like one time they're trying to evacuate and the guy's having a panic attack and the cat finds him and he hugs the cat and he's like and he's like holding him, and Lupita does the same thing too at one point where she's getting
it's a real emotional support
it's emotional. It's like she loses him in the attack on the street, and then she finds him, and she's like hugs him again, holds him close.
I mean, but we all know that's fantasy because cats are assholes. Right?
Cats are assholes. They would have bounced immediately.
They would join the fucking animal.
Yeah, probably start attacking. Yeah,
be like,
unless cats are these creatures' nemesis, like
that could be it.
The Mummy.
I was just thinking the same thing.
That's Quiet Place 4.
Yeah.
But so at the end, this is why the military doesn't do what it would do is Lupita's like she gives him the cat and the sweater, and she starts making a shitload of noise.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna go the other direction. You run for the. She starts smacking car alarms on, and
she pulls the old Sam Neill.
Yeah, exactly. So he's running for the dock, and then what's his name is on the boat.
Damon Hunt.
Yeah, he's on the boat. And he's like, "Stop the boat!" Yeah. I think Beverly would be like, "Shut up, pal. We're gonna keep going." But anyhow,
I know that guy.
Yeah. So as he's running, he sets a car alarm off or something, and one of the creatures turns around and starts chasing. And it's a really good way they do. He's running for the water because he knows like they avoid water, and he's and they're closing in on him. He jumps off.
Off the
and
pier.
One of them like swipes at him and misses, and it's just like right off the pier. So he makes it. And he gets on the boat as Lupita's
but it was low tide. He just hits the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, no.
You know, I'm just putting this together now that since the cat's name is Frodo and these creatures are afraid of water, like the wraiths.
Yeah.
Somebody's been,
some nerd.
Some stuff from Lord of the Rings there, Mr. Krasinski.
Yeah. So anyhow, she's able to get away, and the final scene we see of her is she's walking around with like a boombox, but she has earphones on.
Yeah.
And then she kind of accepts her fate and pulls the earphones out. As
she's listening to Nina Simone's Feeling Good.
That's right.
One of my favorite songs.
It's a great song, yeah.
And there's a great voiceover bit where she's like thanking him in her head. She's like, and she's like, I really forgot how much the city sings.
Yes.
Because you could hear the wind. Sound design, amazing. Yeah. But you could hear, just the wind in the trees and everything. And then, she pulls the headphones out and it blares, I'm feeling good. And then you just see the creatures come out.
Yeah, but cuts before she gets taken.
Yeah, and she's got like this great face of just like this resolve of like, so that's the way I go out.
Yeah.
On my own terms, which I'm like.
The music I would have chosen for my character at the end there, it would have been Mama's Gonna Knock You Out, and then I'm fighting them. I have these hydraulic fists that I made from, and I'm just fighting them until they take me, and then I'm like, choke on it.
So immediately, choke on it, choke on it.
It was an itty bitty
blow myself up. For some reason, I got access to high quality explosives.
Well, they're lying all over the place, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In my head watching, I was like, I hope they don't do the reverse where he sacrifices himself for her because she's like already dead. I'm like, but I could have seen it going that way.
Yeah.
But I think they did a really, really good job.
Really great job. Yeah. I mean, you don't, the creatures are kind of in the background. You don't see them as much.
No.
But they're there. They're there for the major attacks.
So does the cat go with him at the end?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. She's like, take care of my cat. Don't feed him too much because he get fat.
And the cat goes, I will go to my home planet.
The cat's like, fuck you. Don't call me fat.
But I mean, it was a great movie. I recommend it.
Yeah.
And it's doing pretty well. So
it is.
It's doing pretty well. People. The art theater was packed.
No, I'm hearing great things. And I would have had the cat eat the last slice of the pizza she wanted, and then he'll just go, And then that's
fight Pizza Rat.
Yeah. Pizza Rat, yeah. The budget was $67 million. It's ran out to $195. So
it's killing it.
Yeah, it's and our theater was packed. Packed. So
that's the thing.
And again, she get her an award, an Oscar.
Seriously, dude.
Like, she's so good in this.
So good.
She lost a ton of weight for it. Like and I've said it since seeing her in Us, which I was like blown away by her, and I was
so
like,
good in Us,
why
man.
is this woman not getting an Oscar for it? And it's like horror movies don't really get awards,
which is so stupid.
Was she in Black Panther?
Yeah,
she was.
Yeah, I felt they wasted her in that.
Yep, they did.
Yeah, they did.
She's like the spy character.
She's the love interest of T'Challa.
I really think because I'm excited if she's still a part of it, because like years ago I thought she was. I mean, I heard she was attached to it, but I don't know if they're gonna make it, because it seems like John Woo's making it into a TV show now, or maybe a miniseries. I'm not sure, but one of his movies, The Killer from Hong Kong, was like Chow Yun Fat. They were gonna make a American remake over here with her.
Wow,
as the lead.
That's interesting.
Like assassin character, and so I was like, oh, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah,
but I think I don't know if that's backtracked since his other movie didn't do too well here.
The Silent
Night, yeah. So, but it seemed like the last time I read, he's working with someone else to turn it into a show, and I don't know if she's still attached to it, but I hope she is. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would really like to see that. So
yeah.
But yeah, I really want to see this day one, and then I also want to see the sequel of the first one, because I never saw that.
You never saw part 2?
Yeah, I never saw part 2 either.
No, part 2 is pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
I mean, it
would you say they could continue from that one too, or no?
Yeah,
they could. Okay,
absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
and they'll have their pneumatic
speaking
punching
of
fists.
Joseph Quinn,
don't do that.
Don't do what?
Don't do that.
What did I do?
Don't do that. Those are segues.
No, I just you're talking about a movie with Quinn, and he's in something else that's coming out soon.
What's he in?
All right.
There's a trailer, that we saw that's starts with a glad and ends
glad
with
it's coming out.
I'm glad. But
speaking of other movies that are coming out soon, Gladiator 2 trailer. We recently watched it.
Yeah, man.
And it's also got Joseph Quinn in it.
Yeah, he's Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
The old Caesar.
Yeah.
He's one of 2 Caesars in the movie.
No, Pascal's just a general.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Pedro Pascal, but I mean, I think he's. It's like, okay.
Overexposed?
Okay, yeah. It's like he can't be in everything. Come on now.
I mean,
yeah.
Don't tell his agent that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, no, that's a thing that happens with hot actors at a
no,
time.
for sure.
Get pushed.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they even tried to do that with Sam Worthington.
I was just about to say, you're just,
and now look at where he's at.
Sam Worthington.
Sam. I love Sam.
For a while, for like the early 2010s, he was in everything.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm excited to see him in this, because I don't know. The problem with the trailer, though, because the way the first one ended, I was like, it was such on a happy, hopeful note. I was like, what went wrong? Where you still have the gladiator, Colosseum, or the gladiator battles going on.
Oh, because they were trying to set up like democracy.
Yeah, they were going to go back to a republic, and so I was like, unless I want them to really explain how this went down, because her son, she's still with them in the so it's just like, how did she get separated from her son?
Right.
And like,
how did he end up in the gladiator arena? Yeah. Because that's not for someone as high ranking as he is in that society.
Hiding. He says it, and like they asked him like, who's your parents? He's like, I don't know my parents, kind of stuff.
But the thing is, how do you? He was old enough to know his mom, though.
No, I think he's hiding.
He's hiding the fact.
I think he's like,
but so he's voluntarily being a gladiator.
But I just don't know how the general and the Caesar can usurp him, like that quickly. I know what you're saying. It's a weird thing, because like he's so high ranking in that society.
Yeah,
he was the emperor's nephew. So even if he doesn't take over as the emperor, he would still be. That's still a very wealthy family.
Yeah. No, but I feel like there's probably an external threat that's like taking out the family or something.
That could be
that.
it. Yeah, they've fallen from grace or something.
Like if the senators,
which would suck, because that would kind of negate
the first film?
Maximus's sacrifice. Yeah. So it's like, don't do that. Like, come on, we've seen that a lot in theaters, like in films lately. where like legacy
just,
characters' sacrifices are being tossed out.
I want a good enough reason where the first film is all for naught. It's just like he didn't die for no reason. You know?
Well, I hope that's not what they do because it seems like it.
No, I'm just
So it's like okay, so there's not a republic, so he died. That didn't happen.
No,
it's still an emperor.
Right,
and now the kid that he helped to defend is now thrown into the gladiator pit.
Right. And the most intriguing part of the trailer is I think Denzel's aspect of it, only because. He's got
a Training Day. Denzel's back.
Yeah, because like he's got a vendetta against Caesar and Rome itself. So
and he's kind of pairing himself with the kid who's like, I want to take out the general.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like.
Well, the kid, has a thing against the general. So I wonder what that is.
Yeah, I don't.
But then Denzel, I think he is probably from another country that probably is war torn from Rome.
Yeah, probably conquered by Rome.
He's like, all right. I'm into the slave trade, and I have all these gladiators fighting for me, kind of like what's his name from the first film,
Oliver
Proximo.
Reed's character.
Proximo.
Yeah, Proximo. Yeah, and so he's like the new Proximo, and so what would be cool is if he's also another villain, like not he's trying to kill Rome, but he's also actually kind of worse than Caesar.
Right? No, what you mean? Yeah,
the Caesar they showed with Quinn, like he's got a white painted face, and he seems too zany and too like, so I hope he's not like the real main antagonist there. I would really like it's some subversion to it where it's just not the typical evil Caesar, so I don't know, I'm intrigued by it, but I'm also like worried that it's not going to be as good as the first
one. It could have just been its own thing.
Yeah, I mean that too.
Like it should have just been
an
its
anthology.
Own thing.
Yeah, you didn't need to call it Gladiator 2.
No, man, just call it something Gladiator.
Blood and Sand.
Yeah, Blood and Sand. Exactly.
Or no, it could have been just like,
Imperator or whatever.
Right. The end days of I don't know.
I know.
Just.
But I think there was some pressure from studios going like,
well,
hey, we gotta capitalize on this Gladiator.
Yeah, man, because they're trying to redo everything. It's just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think also Ridley's making up for it because he's recently stated where he felt, I don't know, if gypped is the right word, because he felt he didn't know he could have done the sequel to Aliens and Blade Runner, really.
Right.
And like technically, because at the time he was an up-and-comer director, and he was like, I'll just move on to the next movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Alien was his second film or something like that. And so Blade Runner was his third. And like apparently he had to choose between Alien Covenant and the sequel to Blade Runner. Ooh. And he said he shouldn't
Covenant.
The thing is he felt that he shouldn't have had to choose. He could have done both.
Right.
But obviously studios aren't going to wait on that, and like, so I do feel for him. So I'm glad he's at least getting a sequel to one of his, because like without him they probably would have tried to make Gladiator.
For sure.
So I'm glad it's him. Sure. I am glad it's him.
It would have been like a prequel with young Maximus or something.
That's true. Well, shit, that would have made more sense in a way.
Although I don't know, I would still probably not want to connect to Maximus's character, because I think in any sense it would diminish it if you try to add to that story.
I suppose.
I mean, like,
I'm just trying to think of the most trite thing that. Would do.
It's the George Lucas. You want to see him as a kid? I don't really.
You want to see the Gladiator that inspired Maximus?
Yeah. It's
his name was Minimus.
It's like the fall of Rome. That's interesting to me. So if this is where this is going, I'm intrigued. Like if it's going to be a Troy battle, like with Brad Pitt's, when. So
is this Nero or no?
No, this is supposed to be,
because Nero was based on Commodus.
Commodus was real. Yeah. No, Nero was way before this time.
Yeah.
Before this time. Yeah. So this was like after Commodus's time is like when they started kind of like the decline of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
It took, it was hundreds of years, but this is kind of when it started around there. Because I think Marcus Aurelius was one of the last of the they call them the good four emperors.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well, I think Quinn's character possibly could be an illegitimate son. Like maybe the mom had another kid that she didn't really address to the public.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, we'll see. But I'm glad they brought her back, though. I feel bad for the kid, though.
She looks great.
Because the kid was in Glass, and he's old enough to play the older.
Oh wow, yeah.
I think he would have been.
So they recasted,
and then they recasted the kid for the flashback. I'm like,
yeah, I saw that too. I was like, is that? Am I imagining things?
No,
like,
they
I was just like, they recast
it. Yeah. I felt the kid's not a bad actor. If you saw him in Unbreakable, he was great. Yeah. He was great in Gladiator, and I haven't seen a lot of his stuff as older, but I hope he at least got to audition. To try out.
Yeah, maybe.
But I don't know. They probably wanted to get Paul Mescal because he's younger and
exactly.
Everybody. Like I didn't know his name until they announced him for this movie.
Well, I guess this is supposed to be like 10 years after the events with Maximus.
Yeah.
So 10, 15 as opposed to 24. Which is what it is real time.
God, it's weird.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Crazy. 2000.
Gladiator 2. Beep beep. Beep, beep. This takes place between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m.
and 36
What's
BC.
That?
Yeah.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
That was a great show.
Yeah, I love that show.
Great show. Speaking of other trailers that we saw, I beat you to it.
I completely forgot what the other thing was. So,
Hellboy trailer recently was dropped.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? Because it does not look so great.
It does not. Yeah. I mean, look.
What if it blows it out? Like, what if it's surprisingly so good?
It's good, yeah.
I mean,
maybe.
It's hard because
can't base a movie on a trailer.
You're attached. I think it's a bias that we have.
Yeah, it is,
and it's going to be hard to beat.
That's a good way to put it, Chad. That's true.
And because Guillermo del Toro stuff brought so much of that fantasy element, and the fairies and all that stuff that he brought in, and this looks like it's going back to like the horror kind of beginnings of the book. It looks like a horror movie.
Yeah,
and
but I mean, The Crooked Man, isn't it one of his earlier stories anyway? So
yeah, it's supposed to be set in the 50s, so it's a young Hellboy, like kind of before the BRPD.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. But is this closer to like post World War II? What did you say?
Yeah. 1951.
So he's still young. He's not as buff. And
I mean that's why they cast, because I was just like, I didn't mind. What's his name?
From Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on it myself. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up while you are talking.
Yeah,
or I am talking.
David Harbour.
Yes, Harbour.
There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
I actually didn't mind him as Hellboy. I
thought
he
enjoyed
had great
him.
attitude.
Yeah.
The makeup they did was I mean, obviously it's hard too because they went more realistic with the look.
Yeah.
Than
he looked
Guillermo's.
less apish than Ron Perlman's.
And the new makeup looks just kind of like they just put red on his face.
Well, I mean, like I'll say this: I think it was a closer look to the comics. And I was like, that's cool. I'm cool with that. And like, I loved a lot of the zany ness of that Dave Harbour's one, where when hell was set loose and like everything was the big giant like demon
through.
I was like, oh, this is interesting.
And Baba Yaga story. I thought
Dave Harbour's great in it.
Yeah. So I mean.
It just didn't have the heart that
the
other ones did.
True.
Because like with...
And I heard about there was a lot of clashes behind the scenes.
Oh, there was?
Between Harbour and the director.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, I like it was missing like the dynamic of his team.
Yeah.
You know?
That too. And I think that would have been fine if what's his name? Hedgerton? Oh my God.
Are you having a stroke?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's filming.
The head of who runs the hotel in John Wick. What's his name?
Ian McShane.
Ian McShane. Why do I want Swearington?
That's his name in Deadwood.
That's in Deadwood.
That's why.
Hey, we got it. We made it.
We did it. We did it.
We came back around.
You're starting to sound like one of my mom coming up.
The
guy, the guy with the hair.
The guy with the
He's a thing.
I've gaps sometime.
It's okay. It's late. It's okay.
But no, I think if their relationship was stronger in that movie, it would have been better.
Yeah,
and they didn't have that. And like John Hurt did an amazing job.
He nailed it.
He did.
For sure.
First one.
Yeah, because they did spend a lot of time building that relationship. The father-son relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So
will we get that character in this one? You think though?
Yeah, but he'd be He'd be 30s or 40s,
something like that. Yeah,
because this is set back in the day. So,
yeah, I mean, I would like it to be good, but I'm gonna try. I'd have to all right, those other movies don't exist. This is. I'm gonna look at it with a blank slate here, just to
be objective.
Be objective and all right, is this following the feel, theme, lore, all that stuff, and try to go about it like that. But it's just from the trailer, I'm just I'm still hesitant.
It doesn't. Yeah. The shots they use in the trailer look kind of cheap. It looks like we had 3 days in the woods and we ran around with a camera, kind of just aiming at trees and having some guy shimmy around a bit in the background. I mean, I wish. If you're going horror with this, go fucking full bore. Go the Long Legs trailer. Make it creepy.
Right.
Yeah. But just running around in the woods, I'm like, what is this? And then and I know Mike Mignola has a big part in this. He put this together himself. He wanted a movie, and he's the creator of Hellboy. So I'm hoping, knock on wood, that is good for that reason,
Yeah.
But
I mean, hopefully McFarlane sees this and he's like, okay, I know not what to do.
Yeah, for Spawn.
For Spawn, because he's still doing that. So
yeah, he's been pushing that hard.
But yeah, no, we'll see how it is. I mean, yeah. That's the thing. If Logan the Wolf, the fan film we watched, is that good? If you're not better than that, then
yeah, that's true.
Again, it's
a bunch of guys running around in the
woods, but then they did an amazing job with it.
Yeah. It probably cost half as much as what Hellboy's going to be.
Yeah. So
not even half, dude.
Yeah.
Not even half. I mean, I'll check it out. Just because, like you said,
would you go see it in theaters?
Probably.
Is it going to theaters?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks like it's directly to Tubi, but
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
I think it would have to be in theaters for me not to pause and talk over it.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, look at this guy, type of thing. But I know, I like Mike Mignola, so
and we don't get a full body shot of Hellboy. You just see it's that one kind of close up on his head.
Yeah.
They probably didn't have enough makeup time.
No, but I'm just does he have the little hooves? Because if he has, I'll be down with that. If he's big on top, tiny hooves.
Tiny hooves, yeah.
Little baby feet.
Yeah. Little baby.
Because that would be something that they haven't done yet.
Yeah. No, we'll see. Well, yeah, because Mike always likes to be accurate to his comics, so maybe they will. It's a surprise, and you'll hear that click.
Hashtag give me tiny hooves.
Yeah.
Hashtag there's another trailer we need to talk about, which is Long Legs. We were just talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a great segue, but
no, I think it was actually.
It's a very long hashtag is what that was.
Exactly.
I
don't think Chad likes hashtags. That's the problem.
No, I mean, I just think hashtag doesn't just doesn't
hashtag talk about the trailer. You're watching it tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'm watching it tomorrow.
You're out of your mind. Okay.
Hey, you're the guy who's afraid of satanic stuff, man.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, so
that's true.
Maybe clarify. You're willing to venture out, and then a bit. Oh, okay. I should have mentioned.
I'm scared of flying, but I'll still see a movie with a plane in it.
That's different. That's very different.
Very different. It's very different. It's very different.
Still, it's just a movie.
Yeah. Oh, sure. That's what they said about a lot of movies. That things went wrong on.
I don't like spiders, and I watch Arachnophobia.
There you go. We're all facing our fears here, Stan.
That's different. It's a little different.
Because mine's real. Mine's,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's real too. Okay. Are you excited to watch it?
No, I am. I'm already on board because it's Nick Cage. I'm a big
of course
Cage fan. I don't know if he has a nickname for his fans, like Cajuns.
Yeah.
We all the Cajuns. I don't know.
He does have 3 houses in Louisiana.
Hey,
so.
I don't think he does anymore. I think he had to sell them.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, no, I think he's all paid up now, if I'm not mistaken.
He made enough of those straight to DVD
Straight to
movies.
DVDs, yeah.
But no,
paid my taxes.
like I loved him in Mandy. I loved him in
Mandy.
The color. I mean, what's it called? The Color Out of Purple, or I forget what it's called. It was not.
I know what you mean.
Purple.
No, it was
not the Color Purple, but it's like out of something. It was.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Yeah,
based on wow, I'm just brain farting and all.
Is this the Lovecraft one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Color Out of Purple or
something like that. Yeah.
Color Out of Space.
Yes.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Boom, got it.
Purple's not even in.
No, I know, but there's a lot of purple in the movie. That's why I kept saying it. Purple.
Purple.
Sorry for the plosives, guys. But no, I'm excited. The main actress, I'm terrible with her name. Always, I want to say it's Mary. Well, she's from It Follows, and I loved her in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she's doing the sequel, I believe, the ones that's coming out. Well, I don't know when they're filming that.
Dances.
Oh, really?
Musical.
It Follows, It Dances. I think that's a big jump from Following. I think, but
it shuffles, and then it's just like so.
Or
yeah,
it
get to the
stops.
fifth movie down. Yeah,
it's running.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, the trailers have been great. The promotion for the movie's been awesome with like the website where you could study the case files of
that's cool.
his serial killer.
Yeah.
And they've had like a phone number you could call where Nick Cage is on the phone just creepily talking to you, and singing happy birthday and stuff. So I'm very into it. People are been saying it's like the new Silence of the Lambs. I hope it's not exactly like that because I just wouldn't want it to be a thriller. I want it to be because the way it's been.
Well, because her character looks like she's like
an FBI agent.
Yeah, she's an FBI,
but it has like some connections to a cult or something. It looks like from the trailer. Anyway.
It's like she's investigating them.
Because like at least in the
I
trailer,
think it's something to do with her past though.
Well, that
could be
because
there's like a younger girl that looks like her.
Right.
Yeah, in the trailer you hear Nick Cage's voice is like, "You didn't play nice with me." So maybe they came across her. He came across her at as a young age, and then
like she got away or something.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued.
Well, because he's killing like. You said something before we started the show. There's like he's birthday killer. Like he kills girls who are turning 9.
From the website that they put up, like you see because like his killings like take place over a certain amount of years, so it's never like week after week or anything like that. It's spread out over time, and these families are pretty much like a murder suicide. And they're clarified as such, but they always find these notes signed Long Legs with some sort of coding they can't decode.
Right.
So some people are also comparing it to the Zodiac type of thing like that.
Yeah.
But so it's signed Long Legs, and for some reason, it looks like the father killed the daughters or daughter, and the wife, and then kills himself always. And they haven't found like fingerprints or anything like that lead to another guy except this note that keeps appearing at each crime scene, and like these killings keep getting more gruesome and worse, and I guess I want to say where this movie is going to take place is like they finally put all these cases together and they're trying to study like who is doing actually find the killer now, and like because there's been witness sightings of like an old person in the area with a van or some vehicle and stuff. So I recommend checking out the website because it is interesting, and they've like crime scene photos of just like
I miss when movies used to do like interactive websites.
Yeah, man.
Like back in the day when the internet was still kind of new.
Yeah,
it was like
check out really fun stuff with it. Yeah,
So I'm really digging the way they're going about it, and I just hope. It lives up to the hype that we're getting so much of right now. So, because my hopes are up for the movie. So
mine too.
And I'm just really excited to see the movie. So, and if it's really good, I'll probably see it more than once. Just
okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool. You gonna watch it, Watson?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
I think so.
Sounds good. Let me know. I'll go with you.
I will.
Oh yeah.
No.
And then I'll
Because
tag
somebody
along too.
Okay, yeah, you can come on.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, okay.
We always invite you.
Yeah.
It's never the
No,
same.
but I mean, you
Is
guys-
it ever, it's always.
Well, but I mean, but you guys always do Regal, and you're doing like 4DX.
Well, I'm gonna say-
I'm
Well,
I'm
that's
not
true.
a-
Watson does
I
do
mean,
that. That's
If
true.
this isn't 4DX,
That's true.
I'm down.
That's gonna be a lot of just sitting
Creepy
still.
Nicolas Cage tickling your legs.
Oh
just like-
god, blowing on your neck.
Yeah.
Happy birthday. Have you guys been checking out House of the Dragon at all?
No.
But I've heard good things, and
Okay.
like the season's even better than the previous season.
Yeah, I mean, it's this last episode is pretty crazy. They're finally introducing dragons into the battle. This is definitely everything that I think that Rings of Power wants to be. Is trying to be, but it's just like there's just something not quite hitting with the audience with Rings of Power.
I know you forgot a segue, but a perfect segue to.
I didn't forget it. I just didn't do it.
All right.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. One's like where there's legs, there's also wings, and what else has wings is dragons. House of Dragon. It's the house.
Not everything has wings has legs.
Okay,
though.
this will be an edit point.
Yeah,
We're gonna
exactly.
take this.
No,
back.
we're leaving it in.
Oh boy.
Leaving it in.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to touch on it too much, but
So they're finally bringing him back.
they finally had a dragon battle.
Oh.
Yeah. Highly recommend
I want to wait. I'm gonna join when they start writing houses,
writing houses.
because it's the House of Dragons, right? So it's houses versus dragons.
You fucking guys. Anyway, I
Just on the roof.
it's late, so
Yeah.
these guys are getting delirious.
We're getting
Yeah.
punchy.
Yeah.
Punch up the script.
I recommend it. House of Dragons, check it out. And
Now,
go ahead. No, that's it. That was it.
I just had questions on this new season. Has there been a character that you've grown more attached to, or like, is there any characters that you're really
any of them
enjoying?
the
redeemable?
Matt Smith character.
Matt Smith.
The Matt Smith character is definitely the only character in there that I'm kind of like, I guess, rooting for to an extent.
Okay.
Now,
are you rooting for him because he's fun, or are you rooting for him because you think he's justified? And
in a way, he's justified, but he's definitely fun.
Okay.
He's gotten a lot. He started off as kind of like this like daring, kind of like give a fuck kind of character that did his own thing, but now he's kind of coming to grips with the consequences of his actions over the last couple of years, and the fact that he is the brother's. He's the brother of the king who passed away, but because the king had his own kids, they're the ones that take over the throne. So, and now his children, the king's so technically his niece, who he's married to, and his nephew, because the Targaryens marry each
they
other.
like to fuck each other.
They're now fighting over the throne, and he's on the side of his wife / niece. So, but yeah, it's just and Queen Rhaenyra, who was named the successor, but because there was a mix-up as the king was dying, his wife thought that she was naming her son as a successor, and now that's why there's this coming civil war between Rhaenyra and technically her brother. So so
Intrigue and Incest.
Intrigue
on
and Interest
HBO.
on HBO.
I would love if all this incest would produce a sloth type character from the Goonies, where he's just like, Dracarys? Hey, you guys.
I was trying to soften when I was talking about In a Violent Nature, the description of the killer, and Chad just goes right.
That's Quasimodo. That's different. That's being subtle.
Sure.
It's giving an image for people to
Sure,
go off.
sure.
You didn't go full sloth.
Yeah, I didn't go full sloth.
You didn't go full sloth. At least there's that. I guess. Oh my god.
You're leaving with me now.
Oh shit, you guys. Oh, please don't cancel us. Please don't cancel us. I guess with that, if there's anything else you guys want to talk about,
We didn't talk about Bear season 3.
Oh yeah,
Bear season 3. Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking good.
Segue that. You
cousin. Let's fuck cousin.
Well, cousin. We're talking about cousins. Fucking
God.
so.
man.
Oh my god, dude. Bear season 3, cousin.
Yeah.
What do you?
Did you guys watch it?
I watched.
No,
I watched
I'm
both
behind.
seasons.
I'm
I watched both
behind.
seasons.
But
Yeah, it's amazing.
Don't talk about it.
There's been a lot of controversy. A lot of people saying that this was kind of like a goose egg of a season. Like not a lot happens. I thought it was. I
haven't watched it yet. Yeah, I've watched the first 2 seasons.
Yeah. Okay.
Has it come out already? Is it?
Yeah, the whole thing's
out.
Dropped. Okay. They dropped all of them on one day on Hulu.
Okay.
Which I was surprised about.
Yeah.
And because I think they filmed season 3 and 4 back to back. So it's basically, this show is one of the tensest fucking things to watch. Like you always feel tense watching this show because it's like so the way it's edited, paced,
exactly.
it's crazy, right? And it's like everything's high stakes. It feels so. The first episode is kind of the antithesis of that. Like they filmed it very slow, a lot of long takes, a lot of like it's Carmy kind of thinking back to him learning how to cook and going to like going to all these different restaurants and learning different techniques.
Yeah.
And then trying to implement the techniques he learned in the new restaurant. So it starts with him coming up with a list of non-negotiables of like how he wants the bear to be run, which is like new menu every day. Like things have to be perfect. Like before they get sent out, like everything's got to be perfect on the plate. Like he's like this. If we want to get a Michelin star, this is what we have to do. And he's really taking control. And it's freaking everyone else out because they thought it would be more collaborative.
Right.
But he's like, look, if you want this to be a success, you got to do the way I want it done. And you start seeing through the season everything kind of breaking down because he's so on everyone. Everyone's stressed. They're full every night. Like it's like a huge hit of a restaurant, but there's no money coming in because he's spending so much money on like the top of the line supplies. Like you see, like Oliver Platt comes in and goes, "What the fuck is this $2,000 worth of butter we're buying?" It's like it's like this butter from like this one place in Wisconsin. It's like So everyone's stressed out. They have this season's dealing with a lot of just internal stuff like that, and them trying to make a success out of this business. And like there's not a lot of like big story points other than like they get a review for the first time and how does that affect them, and like the sister Sugar gives birth, has a baby at one point. And like that's a great episode. Like it's just really on her and Jamie Lee Curtis as the mom.
Oh, okay.
Because basically, Carmi's whole thing is like no phones can be turned on in the restaurant while they're in service. So she's out on the street driving, and her water breaks, and she's trying to call everyone. She's trying to call everyone in the family, and none of their phones are on because they're all working. Right. And so she finally breaks down. She's like, I guess I gotta call my mom. Who's just fucking apeshit crazy. But it's a great episode about them. As she's in the hospital going through labor and all that.
Oh, okay.
So it kind of ends on a weird like cliffhanger almost. So you have I forgot her name, but his second chef, what's the character name? Jesus.
Yeah, I know you mean.
What you're talking about. But.
So she gets offered. So through the whole season, they're giving her like, "Hey, you have to sign this contract. It's going to give you 50% of the restaurant. Like you're in it, like with us." And she won't sign it. And everyone's like, "Hey, you can sign those papers. You can sign those papers." And she's because she sees Carmy just kind of breaking down, and and she's like, "I don't know if I want to be a part of this." Yeah. And then she runs into another chef who's like starting another business, and he's like, "I want you on as and." So she's having this kind of moment of doubt, is like, do I want to still be part of this whole thing or move on kind of thing? And
Sydney.
Sydney, thank you. Yeah. So she's like having panic attacks about it and everything like that. And it kind of ends with her not really knowing which way she's going to go. So that's kind of the big
overarching.
Yeah, but that's her that's been done with that character before.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like she's here again, like at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, all right, come on, you know.
But I think it's like because they started off with them being so collaborative and like
Right.
coming up with the menu and stuff. And then Carmy finally just being like, no, it's got to be done the way I want it with everything. Like even the way the front of the house looks and, you know, like the way the restaurant, like what flowers are out. And like Richie comes and goes, what the fuck are you fucking with my flowers for? You know? So, you know, it's stellar. The show's really great.
Of course, yeah.
Tense is all fuck, but like, I can see how people are going like, now where's the story going?
Right.
Like, what's you know, what are we gonna get for the next 2 seasons, 3 seasons, whatever more?
I don't think there's gonna be more than one more season.
Yeah,
you know.
So yeah,
because all those actors' careers are exploding now.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think there's probably gonna be only one more season. That's it. You know.
And yeah, I don't know if FX can afford them.
Right. Exactly.
And maybe that's why they put it all on Hulu now. Maybe Hulu's kind of covering the bill. But
that's true.
Yeah.
But I dig it. So you guys,
yeah, no, I definitely want to watch it.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they had dropped them yet. Yeah, good. Yeah, it's a great. I mean, the first and second season are just phenomenal.
Yeah,
some of the best stuff out there. I mean, there's very few perfect shows, and that's definitely one of them. You know, they're up there with like Ozark, Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. You know, it's very few perfect shows out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to check it out. Good, awesome. Anything else, Chad?
No, I believe that's all.
Why don't you segue us out?
Segway us out?
You piece of shit. No.
All right, guys, that's the end of our episode. Thank you for tuning in. And please, if you haven't already, I don't know why you wouldn't be, but like and subscribe and please comment. Tell Watson he's got a great set of eyes.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And
it's an audio media. I don't know how they can see
I'm
my
waiting
eyes,
for my
but
compliment.
Tell Stan he's got the wit of a...
Here we go. Why does he have to
You
think
get
about
to
it?
fill in the blank
on
the comment.
He's got the wit of a fox. That's something they say back in the old days.
I don't think they do, but okay.
And me, I'm just for the birds.
Yeah.
And but yes, thank you for tuning in. And as we always say, enter the nerddom, exit the Segway.
Yeah,
that's right.